They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way too fly. Yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down, no. Got a soul view to myself, yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they wanna come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. This my vocation. Now I got rollies all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Water all blood like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see I ain't make it this far for myself, yeah. I had to prove to everybody else, I had to set them straight, yeah. I had to ball, so I had to renovate, I know. They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate.
Yeah. Salute to you guys, man. Salute Ray Davis. Good morning. Salute to the ATP combat community. Clap it up. Clap it up for boxing. Clap it up for boxing. Let's get excited. There's always boxing going on. And yesterday was such an exciting day in boxing. We definitely going to build on it. You already know. I think, today's show is going to be a little bit more of a freestyle. I don't want to say a freestyle, but look, man, things happened yesterday. David Benavidez and David Morell and, other things are going on. We're definitely going to build on it, you know what I'm saying? But this is going to be more, we're going to get to the open panels probably a little earlier than we normally do, because I'm definitely very interested today specifically in what the community thinks about a couple of topics here. The David Benavidez, David Morell situation. We'll talk about Lamont Roach and Tank Davis today as well. And, try to get some real perspective on a fight that no matter what we want to say, is happening, right? It's happening. There's no reason to push back at the fight at this point in time. That's a waste of our time. The reality is we do have a fight popping off on March 1st between Tank Davis, an exciting, entertaining, explosive fighter, against a newcomer to the 135-pound division, Lamont Roach. And although a lot of us probably already have some understanding what we're expecting to happen in the fight, there's still some intangibles that we need to speak on, that I think, me and Ray Davis has talked about it, that probably we need to take into consideration that can affect the outcome of this fight one way or another, right? News of Devin Haney, videos circulating of him working out, working on a lot of things. He's added a lot of different things to his team as far as Nate Jones and Mickey Bay. Obviously we can get distracted by some of the antics that we might want to call it when you see Bill Haney come out and do his speeches, and seems like he's kind of like deflecting a little bit away from the actual elephant in the room, which is, when's your son coming back? So we'll talk about that as well, how we feel about that and what we're expecting. We're getting ready to go into a new year, obviously, past the middle of this month. So we're less than 15 days away from 2025. We've all spoke about how exciting 2025 we're expecting that to be, about all the events coming up. So we got a lot to build on. We'll get to it. Shout out to everybody in the room. Shout out to my co-host Ray Davis. Ray Davis, salute, King. How you doing this morning?
I'm good, Clay, man. Had a good sleep. Woke up a little early. Was ready for the show today.
Right. Oh, yeah. Sorry, you guys, for the delay. Had some personal things going on. I apologize for that for sure. But go ahead, Ray. Sorry about that. Almost forgot to
absolutely. With all the things going on in my life as well, you know what I mean? It was great to get away from a reality, sit down, watch some boxing situations and catch up on what's going on in the world. It's great topics that we're going to talk about today, and I can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, so salute to everybody in the building. We could do a little roll call as well. I know when you got a few people, I'm sure the time is prime time, so there's so many different shows going on at the same time. Shout out to all the other content creation platforms out there building on the sport we love. But let's shout out to the people who are in the building, and appreciate you guys even more, knowing that there's other places you could be right now, but you're here with us, right? So definitely appreciate you guys even more. It means even more. Shout out to Eastside Easy in the building, Grassroots to be here. Keith Tucker, salute to you, Keith Tucker. What up? Keith Tucker, Rich Parco, shout out. Sup to Benavidez, Morell. The beef doesn't feel fake. In the building with the elevate. We always got to elevate, man. That song gets more and more every time I play that song, right? It's not like not my favorite song. Like I'm not playing that song in my car. I'm not playing that in my headphones. It's not one of those. But whenever I put it on this show, the words, you know, I mean, I definitely resonate with a lot of words, man, because it does feel like there's a connection with that song and the journey that this channel's been on, that this platform's been on, man. It's significant, man. So yeah, we always elevate. Rich Parco, I think we already shouted you out, right, Rich? Big Tim 45 in the building. Salute to you. Salute to you. And Big Sarge already talking ish in here, man. What he say here, I always believe that Devin should take a year off from fighting to get both his mental and physical health back to 100 after that Ryan fight. Well, we're going to talk about it, right? Because we're going to talk about it, right? Because I agree with you. When he decided to say he was going to take the year off, I was okay with it, and I was ready. But it does seem like periodically he is staying relevant in the space, saying things, being involved in certain conversations. And for me, we're going to talk about it today as far as, well, if you're going to do all that, you know what I mean? Then you're not really taking the time off, really, right? And should he just make a return and plan on that happening? That being said, it's been damn near a year anyway, so it's about that damn time, right? So we could talk about all that stuff. But I think on top of the list, and everybody's been talking about it, we've all watched what happened yesterday, pretty much a little bit after, or maybe even towards the end of the show yesterday. David Morrell and David Benavidez have their little presser, right? They have their little media workout, and it turns pretty interesting, to say the least, right? Very interesting. As David Morrell and David Benavidez were going to do a little face-off, you know, marketing and selling the fight, and David Morrell just came with a little edge on him. He had a little edge on him. Seemed like there was a little bit of something from the last press conference that he seems like he carried over into this one that David Benavidez wasn't aware of. He thought that there was a mutual understanding, a sportsman-like respect for each other, and handshakes were definitely there. You know, I think he tried to carry it very similar to the way he carried it with Vosdick. Vosdick was very respectful, so they shook each other's hands, gave each other accolades for whatever they accomplished in their own careers, and you know, celebrate each other while still being competitive in spirit, speaking into their victories, obviously, and unfortunately, the defeat of the other guy across from them, but nothing personal, right? But at some point, and you know, the language barrier situation kind of plays its part, because as I'm watching it personally, as somebody who doesn't speak Spanish, I'm watching it personally, trying to kind of like catch up and catch every little thing and understand where the animosity is at. And you got David Benavidez, who has no problem talking English, and at times, you know, talking to David Morrell, and whenever David Morrell gets into his real feelings, like the juice of it, the meat of it, he goes into the Spanish, right? So you're hoping that the translator is catching this the right way. Like, I hope this guy is telling us what this dude is saying, because when he's saying it in Spanish, you're feeling it. You're like, yo, he ain't playing. But sometimes when the translator speaks, it's like, that's all he said? Are you sure? He ain't say a little more than that? And it got to a point yesterday where the translator stopped translating. You know what I'm saying? It just was going. And you just had to really go off of David Benavidez's energy, right? And the way he'd respond. And sometimes it seemed like he tried to translate it, be like, he just said, blah, 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 and I'm about to respond to that. That's some BS, this and this and that. But a confusing day yesterday. But one thing that wasn't confusing, Ray, was these guys are not happy with each other. They're not feeling each other. They're not kin. They are not on the same page. This fight has definitely turned personal. And as a boxing fan, let's be honest, that's kind of what we want, right? I mean, we want a good fight, and sometimes to have a good fight, you got to have a little bit of spice in there. There's got to be something in there that that translates into, damn, I want to see how this turns out. How'd you feel about it, Ray?
Well, one, I want to say that RoboCop definitely struck first. Sorry, no problem, but you know, I thought it was cool. I thought what David Morrell was reacting to was a little uncharacteristic, but it looks like he was trying to build the energy. He's trying to build a reason not to like this guy. And sometimes as a fighter, you got to do so. You have to create the rivalry, right? You have to bring the people to the stage. You have to bring the people to the fight. How do you bring people to the fight? Creating these situations. Because I know me, this right here, definitely got my attention.
Oh, it sold me. It sold me. I was like, now it's must-see boxing. It was must-see boxing anyway for me and you, right? Because we already know the history about this matchup and where it's supposed to be since 168.
And it elevated. Speaking of 100%, elevated, right?
100%.
To a whole nother notch, right? Yeah. So, yeah, man, I was like, damn. Like, yo, they really about to get it in, right? And I'm like watching David Benavidez, and I'm like, yo, he pushed him and he's laughing. So to me, he was like, yeah, bro, you right where I want you to be. And it right. And David Morrell's like, yeah, you done fucked up now. Like you have two people. Like, yeah, this is really it.
And you believe both of them, right? Yes, you believe David Morrell's like, and David Morrell's mind's like, yeah, you think you want to be here. You really played yourself. And Dave Benavidez is like, you think I care? You don't know that I really love this. Like, I really eat off this. Like, you, and both of them, you looking at both of them like, yeah, he means that. Bro. Yup, he means that too. It's up. It's up.
You remember Breakfast Club? Remember you had the bully and the jock?
Yeah, you talking about the actual movie. Yeah.
Right? Remember? The bully and the jock, right? That's exactly what you got. You got a bully in there thinking he can push you around, and you got the jock like, bro, I ain't backing down. I'm going to put you in something that you ain't never been in before. You going to back up. That's what that's the energy it was, right? It was a whole new level of you do this to them, you're not doing this to me. And the other thing, man, who do you think you are? Like, I'm telling you, with so many
and I definitely need you to elaborate on that and definitely let me know who the bully was and who the jock was in that situation. Definitely the bully was David Benavidez in that
situation. Is he the bully?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the way yes, absolutely. The way he threw the first punch, bro, or the first blow, right? He pushed him. You know what I mean? He acknowledged the situation. He laughed. He did a little scar face with his little Gucci glasses.
Right.
Let the belt off. Like,
took the belt off. Yeah.
That's, you know what I mean? And then you got the athlete like, yo, man, I'm this 7-time wrestling all-star, football running back, 20. What do you got? Poke high touchdowns, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got the Al Bundy stats, bro. And you gonna come up here and do this to me? You must have forgot. You got the wrong one. I'm not one of them. That's what he did. And I'm telling you, I love the energy that, like you said, it sold the fight to new heights. It reminds me of a throwback fight. This is how these guys used to be back in the 80s and in the early 90s. Like, they weren't afraid. And this is press conference. This is not, you know what I mean, our weigh-ins and stuff like that. This is how it was when these guys wanted to get at each other and they called each other out in the ring. This is how boxing should be. This is the staple, you know, almost a UFC vibe. You know what I mean? Almost a WWE, but serious. You know what I mean? The heel versus the star. I'm coming for your title. And I'm going to get you. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
Right. It puts sauce on it. It definitely put some seasoning on the meal, man. The gumbo got way spicier. The room started smelling a lot more. The smell of the gumbo is traveling through the crib. If you walk past the front of the house, you're starting to realize something's cooking inside, right? You're realizing, or like Echo said a couple of weeks ago, it put the sizzle on the steak. You know what I'm saying? Like the steak was already there, but the sizzle got put there and everybody's smelling steak right now. And it's a good feeling, man. It's a good feeling because we're going into, this is potentially like the first big fight of 2025, right? I got to put in perspective. If I'm correct, this is the first one, right? I mean, you're going to have your events at Top Rank and the Zone does in January, I'm sure, but February 1st, it looks like, you know, they've definitely taken that spot and has everybody looking forward to the David Benavidez, David Morell Extravaganza on February 1st. Yeah. I would ask you this though, right? That being said, now that the sizzle is on the steak, did you? I mean, I like I told you earlier, the Spanish was definitely an obstacle to a lot of the. I was intrigued, but at the same time,
it was enough to understand. He didn't overdo it.
Like, what was it, right? Like for David Morell, like, although I understand you're saying, all right, he's building this fight up, right? But I don't believe all of that was only to build the fight up. I think there is a personal, like, David Morell feels slighted by David Benavidez.
Yeah, he felt disrespected.
Disrespected where? At what point does he feel disrespected? The last fight,
what'd he say? I gave you respect. I did this. I did that. Right. And then I went to shake your hand and you turned your back on me. You started.
No. They shook each other's hand, David Benavidez and David Morell.
Yeah, what was it that he said he did to him in the last fight where he disrespected him?
So I think David Morell was more so like, from what I understand, David Benavidez was basically saying that David Morell threw some shots at him that involved his children maybe a little bit, or his father, or things that, you know what I mean, he felt had nothing, that were outside the spectrum of boxing. David Morell said, "You're making that up, bro. That never happened. You're just trying to," he basically was like, "You don't got to do all this. We fighting. You don't got to make up a bunch of stuff and paint me as this guy who said things that I didn't say." And he was like,
they did shake hands and they walked away, right?
At the end of it, he said, at the end of it, it seemed like they came to an understanding, like, all right, bro, they ain't got nothing to do with it. Let's shake hands. We're going to be honorable and fight. But I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like a lot of the English that was being spoken inside that last press conference, that David Morell might have been in the dark a lot. I think that translator wasn't able to keep up with all the things that David Benavidez was throwing at him. And it's not far-fetched, in my opinion, that David Morell caught on late, right? Like after the press conference.
He gonna break
his jaw. And he's hearing those things. He's like, yo, he was saying all that? How come nobody told me he was saying that? Next time I see this dude, we're going to build on that.
You're right. Yo, another great point. You're right. That's exactly what it was. He didn't interpret, because remember, he was smiling a lot when he was saying he was going to break his jaw. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, yeah. But then when he told him he's going to beat him up, he's going to beat the shit out of him and this and that, he was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
We gonna fight. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Boxy, or you know what I mean? I get it.
And then he goes back and he watches it with his own homies who translate for him, not some professional, and they're speaking to him like, yo, when he said this, what was you thinking? And he's probably sitting there like, he said what? Yo, look, he said this, that, and everything else. And as it's coming full circle, he's like, yo, this dude actually tried to play with my face, man. We're gonna have to build on this next time we see each other. We're gonna build on it. And I think David Benavidez coming through with that handshake was almost like insult to injury, right? Like, you think after you've said all that you said, that what we're about to do in front of these people is shake hands? What am I, some sort of moron? Nah, bro, we fighting. That's where you wanted it to be. You wanted it to be beef. You want to break my jaw. You think I'm clout chasing. You think I ain't on your level. You think I talked about your son and your daddy. You painted this narrative about me. And and dare I say, David Morell may even feel like, there's a language barrier. And you're using that, and you're controlling and been controlling the narrative of this fight since the moment this fight got put together. And you've got me looking like this other dude that I'm not. And I'm not going to let this language barrier get in the way. So, matter of fact, I'm not even trying to speak English no more. I'm going to make sure, because I know you understand Spanish. I don't care about these people in this crowd so much. They can catch on later the way I caught on later. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to hear directly from me what it's going to be. And it became real personal, because he knew that half that room didn't understand what was being said, right? But he said it anyway. He just kind of accepted the fact that you're not going to understand. Go get a translator like I've been getting a translator. You know what I'm saying? And this is between me and him, bro. We don't need nobody else in this room but me and you. Me and you are going to build, and you know what I'm saying, and you know what it's going to be. And I think it was effective. I think he actually, like you said, sold the fight. I think he built a relationship with the boxing space in the community. And although we didn't understand everything he was saying, he added to his market value and added to the market value of this fight. It was priceless. It worked out. You know what I mean? So moving forward, you expect David Morell to step up. You think there's a very good chance there's going to be an upset here. You've acknowledged all the variables. Obviously, we know David Benavidez can win this fight 100%. Yeah. I happen to think David Benavidez is going to win it just based off the experience. That's where I'm at with it, but won't be surprised if David Morell wins it. But does this add anything different to it? Does David Benavidez have an extra edge on him that kind of like changes the odds for you a little bit? Or does this help David Morell more so, knowing where he's at? Where you at with it?
All right. I got Caleb Plant vibes in this.
Okay.
And it looks like the Benavidez tactics is really trying to see where he can take advantage and get his opponent uncomfortable, right? With Morell. Right. And Morell's like, oh, you must have thought I was something to play with. And I think that you just got a whole new energy out of Morell, where Morell was looking to probably go in there and kind of fill out the fight or whatever. But he's looking like, yo, you really crossed the line right now. Like, you didn't put your hand on me. Like, yo, this is real now. Like, this is no longer us being in the ring as competitors. This is me coming in there to knock your block off, and I'm going to knock you out. I think it's stepped it up enough.
Energy almost. It's almost like somebody said in the club. It's almost like
stepping my Jordan.
This is not about, and this is going to be interesting what I'm about to say, and I want you to really think about what I'm saying, and let's see how this affects the fight one way or the other, because this may have actually translated outside of boxing pedigree and the boxing space, and may have translated into a fight. And does a fight look different from a boxing match with these guys, right? Like what we've anticipated in a boxing match, to where for all intents purposes, David Benavidez has the leverage in the professional space, specifically because we got to acknowledge that David Morell comes with a very good pedigree in an amateur space, in a Cuban amateur scene that we all respect in the boxing community. We respect that Cuban amateur scene, bro. We know what comes out of that, just like we respect the Eastern European amateur scene. So we know that that's something that David Morell, that's an intangible that David Morell brings to the table that a lot of people don't speak on enough, right? They just look at his 11, 10, 12, whatever it is fights he has, and they try to capture all of his possibilities inside of what they've seen there, and they're not acknowledging on what they haven't seen, which is this extensive amateur background from one of the most respected amateur backgrounds in boxing, right? But for all argumentative purposes and intense purposes, David Benavidez carries the leverage in the professional experience. But if this fight translates from a professional boxing match to where those fundamentals matter and turns into a fight, does this start to change the leverage over to David Morell, who we don't know, but he does look like a fighting man, bro? Like this man has always been fighting, right? Fighting got him here. Right? Fighting has got him here. So what does it look like from that perspective?
It does exactly how you put it. It looks like David Benavidez is looking for the fight, but does he know what he's getting himself into? Because what happens? David Benavidez likes to throw 500 punches, 600 punches, I think even above that, right? 700.
Yeah, he's up there.
High volume, right?
Right.
So now you got a guy that's going to come in the ring and he's going to throw punches with you because now he wants to hurt you. Now he wants to fight you, like you just said. This is no longer a boxing match where he's trying to, you know what I mean? And that might be part of David Benavidez's plan. Yo, let's get him out of his comfort zone. Let's make him fight instead of making him box.
Well, but keep in mind, Ray, David Morell is the instigator of this new energy. This is his tactic. This is his game plan. Okay. David Benavidez had to catch up to David Morell's plan. He had to change his mood. He had to change his energy. He had the okay moment. It's like this moment. Okay. Oh, you're going there with it. So, so strategically, yeah, keep speaking though. But strategically, is this David Benavidez's thing, or is this? I don't know.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that angle. But I definitely think it was more of a Benavidez disrespect. You disrespected me by not shaking my hand. Oh, I'm going to show you. Like,
but didn't David Morell bring the disrespect officially? Like no. He set the energy. Like, yo, bro.
Yeah, he set the tone.
Energy is disrespect.
He set the tone, not the energy. Right.
Okay, got you. The push. This is interesting. Let's dive in. Go ahead, bro. It's interesting, actually.
Yes,
you're right, bro, because he set the tone, but David Benavidez set the energy off with the push. He set off like, if it's gonna be like this, this is the way it needs to be. We need to do it all the way. This is where we need to go with it. And David Morell got caught off guard, because how could you come with that energy and not expect this energy? And it did seem like he was shocked when he threw the belt. It was like a desperation, like, oh, this dude put his hands on me. Are you shocked he put his hands on you? Look what you just did.
Yeah, that's exactly 1,000% what took place. Exactly. And this is why listen, I don't even know where this is going to go right now. I'm trying to will this off the top of my brain.
Go ahead, I'm interrupting you. No, I'm throwing all things at you at one time. Go ahead, bro. Take your time.
Clay, I'm telling you, this is straight Goku and Vegeta, right?
Right.
It's became a rivalry, an instantaneous rivalry right in front of our eyes.
Right.
They are pushing with old school boxing tactics. Now, I don't know whose idea it was. I don't know what, like you said, I don't know if it's the tone to do that, or I don't know if it was the energy to do that, but the response is, I don't like you, and you don't like me.
Crazy.
Both of their heads.
It was like two stars collided, an explosion happened, and a planet just got created.
Supernova, right?
Right. A chaotic planet has just been created. These two forces, immovable forces, have collided and created a whole narrative now to this whole entire space that, let's be honest, it didn't even really need it. Because if you're a real boxing fan, you knew this fight was just the mono versus mono, the fight that we hardly ever get. But I think the casual fan got an opportunity to get vested into this fight. They got an opportunity to get vested into this fight, and this fight may be way bigger than we ever anticipated. The PBC may have gotten a blessing out of this that they were looking for, something that the Tank Davis Lamont Roach fight hasn't been able to muster up. David Benavidez and David Morell has given the PBC a real great opportunity at starting the year off with a banger.
Not only that, Clay, this
with eyes on it.
Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis vibes, Ali, Joe Frazier vibes. This has top credence of the sport, and it's at a large, one of the bigger divisions, right? Mm-hmm. So this is what makes it synonymous. Like, it's giving those vibes. Like, yeah, this is it. Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones. You know what I mean? This is giving you those vibes, and this is going to be a banger. I don't even want to talk no more. I just wait.
Yeah. Wait. Now listen, man. It's
right now.
It's there. We amping it up because we're not just trying to amp it up. That's not what we're doing. But we're just keeping it 100, right? Like this fight. One might have asked, what else could this fight need? It's already carrying so much weight. We already were so shocked and so impressed, and we celebrated David Benavidez for getting out of the Jesse Hart fight and himself walking this offer to David Morrell and making sure that this fight was going to happen, and clearly for the boxing space, for the boxing fans, for the legacy. This fight, David Benavidez didn't need to be in this fight. He was already assured an opportunity to at the winner between Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. He already had the attention that he wanted. He was in position, but for the boxing space said, y'all think it's a game. I didn't get the Canelo Alvarez fight put together. I got rejected. I'm going to go to the next best thing. I'm not running away from my biggest threat. I'm going to run right at it. And what else could this fight get? David Morrell obviously game and stepping up to the challenge, but ultimately we were wrong because there's always room for more. Whenever there's food that you love, whenever the buffet is open and you think it can't get no better, they can bring something out and add it to the buffet and be like, damn it, I didn't think you could do it, but that just made this buffet the best buffet I've ever been to, bro. That right there is crazy.
Right,
you know what I mean?
And you know it's really insane, Clay. And I know you're going to agree on this. We just got something that just literally pushed, and this is no slight to Lamont Roach or Tank Davis, but we just got a fight that was here, here to the Tank fight being here, literally just rose above by just for that instance, like just for that, just got pushed up. And I'm telling you, it just overshadowed the Tank fight, especially just through that push. It changed the whole. Well,
it's a funny order, right? Because I like what you're saying because it's kind of like the concert. I remember when Jay-Z once spoke about when they were in the Hard Knock Life tour and they had DMX on there. He said he didn't want DMX to go before him because he's sitting out there like, yo, this dude got them crying, laughing, yelling, praying, jumping. You know what I'm saying? Everything. He got them, and he ends it off with a prayer, and he got the whole place praying. And then I got to come up now and be like, it's a hard knock life. I don't want to.
What did he start with, though? What did he start with?
Who?
Jay, when he said he came out, he said he had to start with what? Because he couldn't start with anything else. He had to come out.
I don't remember, but yeah, it was a significant song.
Yeah, he had to start with the banger. It was what was that album? It was it wasn't allowing me to reintroduce myself. That was Blueprint. Got it.
Was it the one with Siegel and Freeway and the pianos? I move keys like a piano, man.
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. I was watching that too. But anyway, I was watching that, so I understand where you're coming from because now it's like, yo, y'all were the stars, bro. We just stole y'all energy. We whatever smoke y'all was, you know, whenever they just blow the smoke control. What do we call it? They communicated with smoke back in the day.
Right.
Whatever y'all did, man, we just put a cloud up there, y'all.
Nobody can't even see it no more. And how about this intangible, right?
Mm-hmm.
That press conference, if you want to be honest about it, what did you think about the production of the press conference? Just production wise.
Ring, Clay.
No, but it just wasn't.
It was right. Like, they put a backdrop.
That press conference was 100% David Benavidez and David Morrell made that presser. Yep. They made that was right next to, thank you 2 cents, low budget. That was right next to the Tank Davis and Lamont Roach press conference. It was just as much resources allocated to it. It wasn't like, oh, they gave them a great press conference. these two guys put that fight in that event on their back, and they said, this ain't like the other ones. We separating ourselves. Those other events ain't like this one. We about to box. We about to fight. Y'all better tune in. Y'all don't want to hear about this in the morning. Y'all don't want Clay and Ray the next morning up on here telling y'all about how crazy this is. Y'all want to put that money up. Y'all want to get that pay-per-view, get your popcorn, somebody going down, and it ain't going to be me. You feel me? It ain't going to be me. Yo, we winning. As a boxing fan, we winning. And shout out to the PBC, y'all winning because y'all made lemonade. David Morell and David Benavidez made good ice cold lemonade on a hot day yesterday.
Yeah, all the sugar to make that bitterness go away, bro.
Ooh, they took them lemons. And they made some of the damn best lemonade you could get on the hottest day of the year. You walked over like, damn, bro, this is a little cheap little stand, but this lemonade is fuego. Can I get a picture of that? I'm going to chase that with some tequila when I get to the crib. We're going to have a barbecue tomorrow. I want some of this lemonade. I never would have thought you were going to make lemonade with this little sign. Lemonade is spelled wrong on the sign. You know what I'm saying? The sign look like it's about to fall off the thing. You got a little sheet on here. The wind keep trying to blow it off. Man, I ain't going to lie. It's looking real ashy, but this lemonade may be the best lemonade I've ever had in my life, man.
Bro, you call Dragonfly Jones. Yo, Jones, come over here, bro. You got to try this. Yo.
Yeah, man.
Yo, I'm telling you.
Yeah, man. They did a great job. Exciting to see this fight tomorrow. Man, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. But should we segue and move on, or is there anything else that we need to add on to this one?
It's nothing, man. It's enough said in that spark that happened in that room last night or yesterday.
Right.
We touch on it. We it's just excitement, man. It's exciting to see this in boxing.
Let me ask you this though. Staying on topic just a little bit longer. David Benavidez speaking towards the PED situation,
like that.
where he was trying to call out David Morell's team a little bit. And let's remember, let's go back just a little bit and understand that we are aware that there always been a little bit of rumors circulating as to David Morell's position with the testing and him always fighting in Minnesota in that Armory arena or hall or wherever he was fighting at, and never leaving the state. And there was always rumors circulating about the testing being an issue. David Benavidez calls it out and says, listen, ultimately there was testing that we always were fighting for, and this fight actually almost got compromised and did not happen. David Benavidez had to put his foot down and say the testing wasn't going to be part of it, that this fight wasn't going to happen. And that's actually what pushed David Morell into what he wants to see. It seems he wants to make it that David Morell's team did not want the testing, which obviously if you don't want the testing and you're being adamant about not having the testing, it's going to shine light on you and ask why. And it seemed like David Benavidez may have built a legitimate argument about it. What do you think about it?
That could have been part of the handshake. That might have been the ultimate thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
You accuse me of cheating?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't respect you. You know what I mean? So I get it, right? So now, here's my point. And I actually almost texted you. I seen your other video, right? And I'm sitting there about to type in. I'm like, man, now, or the naysayers going to say Victor Conte has something to do with this, even though he had nothing to do with this, and he going to make it go away? Like, how is it? Is these guys aren't even snack fighters? Like, how are we even going to get on this page and make this an excuse of him not wanting to do that, right?
Right.
So I thought it was funny that this came up, right? And the fact that they're both VADA, right? He's trying to do VADA testing, right? When VADA's not supposed to be this great place. I'm just saying, I big up the VADA for sticking to their guns and dealing with clean boxing. Benavidez for calling out VADA and allowing them to be a part of your career. Man, listen, I thought that was a shot taken. I really did.
That was a solid shot. It was David Benavidez saying, all jokes aside, damn all the antics, y'all really want to know what's up? I wasn't gonna say nothing, but since this dude want to sit here and do this, let me keep it 100 with y'all, bro. This fight almost didn't happen. We had to keep it 100 with the PBC and let them know this fight wasn't gonna happen unless this man signed up for that, VADA testing. What's up with that? You know what I mean? And I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, the reality is obviously the testing is there because the fight is happening. So David Morell has the pressure on him to be a clean fighter. Did he need the pressure? I don't know. I don't know that he was a dirty fighter, but he needs to be one now. No matter what happened in the past, he's going to get tested now, and he better be pissing clean, right? Because that's just going to give even more precedent to what he said. It's going to give more validation to what David Benavidez says, and ultimately make you question his whole career, because like I said, for a while, it's been circulating about rumors about testing being an issue over there with David Morell, and the reason why he stayed fighting out the Armory in Minnesota, and why they could never supposedly get him outside of the Armory in Minnesota without it being a big pushback with the testing protocol. Now, David Morell already fought outside of Minnesota. You know, clearly he fought in Los Angeles on the last fight against Hot Rod on the Terrence Crawford card. So, I mean, we'll take it with, you got to take it with a teaspoon of salt, right? Like, you don't want to with a grain of salt. You got to be honest about it. But I did think it was interesting because this thing resurfaces again in this big stage, because we heard it before, and here it is again. David Benavidez actually sharing his experience with the uphill battle of getting David Morell to concede to a test, right?
You say uphill battle very, very respectfully, right?
Right. We got to be. We got to be respectful.
Perfect. You know what that is, right?
Yes.
That's me trying to get in your head right before this fight, make you think about all the things I'm saying. So you go in there, clouded judgment, not listening to your team, trying to do something you ain't supposed to do, and I catch you. That's what this is. This is all gaming tactics. This is how many fights? 27 fights. You know what I mean? A 27 fight veteran trying, in the professional ranks, obviously. Trying to
how many fights does David Morell have at this point?
I believe it's 27.
No, not David Morell.
No, Benavidez, right?
Yeah, I'm talking about how many for Morell though. How many
29, I'm sorry. Oh, Morell's at 12.
11. He's at 11 fights. Right.
But yeah, so yeah, my 29 years of experience, I'm gonna pull one out. I'm telling you, bro. What's up, Edward Morris? Salute. Yeah, he definitely going make some understanding happen on this one, Clay, and it's funny. So it's hilarious. He's definitely playing these games.
100%, man. 100%. This fight is taking on a light of itself. Definitely got my attention. I'm sold. I'm super sold. Can't wait for it to happen. Looking forward. They're probably the main fight I'm looking forward to right now. This fight, man, bro. And just think about in that same month, you have that Rehab season card on February 22nd. I mean, brother, this has. I'm loving boxing, period, going into 2025. I'm my biggest nightmare and biggest fear right now is that these fights don't manifest into what we want them to manifest into, and God forbid any injuries happen that would derail these fights from happening when they're supposed to happen. It would just turn my stomach, bro. It would literally just turn my stomach. You know what I mean? Which is a good thing and a bad thing, right? It's a good thing and a bad thing. But let's move on, right? Let's move the needle and let's jump into this other conversation. And it's just really three topics today, right? We're going to keep it very simple, but good topics. Lamont Roach and Tank Davis. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, right? And the fight has Lamont Roach and Tank Davis. The fight is beginning to say the fight's been getting pushed back since the birth of it is an understatement. I've literally seen Tank Davis fans turn on this fight, right? Tank Davis fans are like, oh man, Tank, I'm a big fan of yours, but this one right here is throwing me. Like, I'm a big fan of you, bro. I'm always fighting for you, bro. But this fight right here has thrown me off, brother. I don't understand what you're doing. Tank Davis has had to cuss his own fans out. Well, then stay over there. You know what I mean? He's jumping on his own fans' neck, who's like, I love you, man. But this might be unbearable at this point. And then to top it off with a press conference with him saying, I'm going to retire. Boxing is BS. He doesn't even want to fight anymore. He only going to fight 2 to 3 more times next year. So it makes the Lamont Roach fight even more of a sting, because it's like, damn, out of the next 2 to 3 fights that you got left, one of them got to be Lamont Roach. But let's be honest. Lamont Roach is a good level pedigree fighter. He's coming from a lower weight class. We don't favor him going into the fight, but I think we paint it as if he's just going to get ran over, to where he doesn't belong in the ring with Tank Davis. And look, everybody can have their opinion on it. I'm sure a lot of people feel like he doesn't. But I think one thing we all have to get on the same page about is that he is going to be in the ring with Tank Davis. This fight is happening March 1st. It's on paper. The press conference has been set off. Currently, Lamont Roach is in full training camp getting ready for this fight. You would assume Gervonta Tank Davis is doing the same thing. So we got to start speaking about this fight in a real-time way and start figuring out, how can Lamont Roach win this fight? What makes this fight interesting? What are the intangibles that we're not talking about enough about this fight? And when we highlight all these intangibles, is this a closer fight than we've been calling it? Is this actually a way closer, more competitive fight than what we've been saying? What say you, Ray?
First first of all, the breakdown, which I really don't want to do breakdowns this early, but
right.
hey, I'm gonna do it anyway. So won this fight. Now, let me start this. The generated point of this fight is a rivalry from cross state rivals, getting it in. You know what I mean, having history. It's a lot of characteristic builds to this fight.
Right.
I like it. I know a lot of times we said we didn't like the opponent or whatever the case. We never said that over here. We actually didn't shoot the fight down because of the opponents or things of that nature. We basically said that there were other people in your division that you could have chose instead of taking this fight because we would have rather seen you at a different level, which is
right. I mean, in our own way. Let's be honest. I don't want people calling us hypocrites. We did. Let me cook
it in.
Okay.
Let me stir up the pot a little bit.
Right.
So with Gervonta Davis, when it got to the point of it being Lamont Roach, and as we started finding out more and more, and I trolled for the most part for Lamont Roach. I even actually at one point even said that Lamont Roach was going to get probably knocked out really quick, right? But as I started dialing back, I started watching some of his fights, appreciating what he did. He lost to Jamal Herring, who was a good champion at one point, right? So he was a good champion, but then he beat the guy that Tank beat frequently right after
Hector Garcia.
Right after
in a competitive fight, though. Sometimes people do try to make that fight like not like he dominated him or blew him out the water, but yeah.
Right, exactly. Now let's give credit where credit's due. Hector Garcia hung his hat well with Tank when he was in there. He did punch. He was able to catch him, slip him, get some good shots in on him. He did not run away being a smaller fighter.
Right.
Because he was a smaller fighter, and Tank's used to knocking out guys that come in at 145. You know what I mean? The day of the fight, Hector Garcia didn't stand a chance with the power, in my opinion. So it was very easy, lights out for him. And I think with this fight,
you see non-fingers. He gonna keep us. I'm telling you, bro. That's why I said let's be honest.
Hold on, I didn't say I didn't talk the fight down. Hold on.
No, don't get all defensive. I'm just being honest with you.
No. I'm telling him. No. We didn't say we didn't talk. I didn't say we didn't talk the fight down. What I said was, maybe I did, but I don't believe I meant that. What I'm saying is, we were talking about the fighter and Tank, like Lamont and Tank. We were talking about the fighter.
We were talking about the challenge of Tank, and who is the best. Him fighting challenging fights, and he had better choices in that. In the spirit of that.
That's really not really saying that. These guys weren't going to be when they get in the ring, because I always said that this might be an upset going wrong, a cherry pick going wrong, right? I've always been on that energy since the fight was made. So I'm never going to tell you that I did not say that it was a terrible fight. I just said I think there were better fights out there for him.
No, I thought it was a terrible fight. I'm not going to lie.
Well, you did. Okay.
I definitely did. I ain't going to lie.
I never said that.
So don't hold him accountable for anything. Make sure that he said it, because I ain't going to lie. I said it.
Right. And y'all can go back and the archives are on the screen, you know what I mean? You can go click it. I'm pretty sure I never said that. But I am actually now coming around to realization that this fight is going to be better than what expected. It's going to bring something. I think Lamont Roach has something in his bag. And is he going to dig deep? Like I said, that rivalry, you know what I mean? That's something that goes back a long time. Is it going to be, I'm going to get you this time? I finally caught you in a race. You know what I mean? I could finally pass you in a 100-meter dash. I'm going to beat you. Whether he does or not, I think he's going to put on a performance that we never seen against Gervonta Davis, right? Gervonta Tank Davis, whatever. I think we're going to see something different. I think Tank may underestimate a little bit what Roach can do, and it may take him to a point where he has to get serious with the fight very quickly, because he doesn't want to get caught behind. And I don't know if the Santa Cruz things or any of those things play a part. But at the same time, this fight is definitely the breakdown. There you go. So the breakdown is as Roach fights Tank, he has to attack the body. Tank's never been attacked to the body. Not too many people have tried. I think Barrios hit him a few times to the body. I think what's the dude name? Gamboa. hit him to the body. Pedraza hit him to the body. So not too many people really attacked his body in all his fights. And I think that could be something to make Tank uncomfortable. If he attacks the body and he stays away from the left hand, you know what I mean, and move accordingly, knock him off balance, catch some of his shots, and know how to move and watch the tail signs of Tank, which is very hard to do, he has a chance like anyone else. You know what I mean? Especially with Tank's mental state saying, like, look, I'm out of here. But, you know what I mean? It's Gervonta Davis at the end of the day. So, you know what I mean? I'm still leaning my hat towards him. It is what it is. But that's how I see a chance for Lamont Roach. I don't think he has to be defensively sound. I think he has to be more aggressive. I think he has to be up close and personal, and I think he needs to attack the body of Gervonta Davis to create some type of leverage for himself.
Right. Me personally, I'll be honest, guys, I don't even have a game plan all the way for Lamont Roach. I haven't thought about it that deeply, but I'm going to say that there's these outside intangibles that I think kind of are part of the recipe for the big upset. A big recipe for the unexpected thing happening that we never thought could or would happen, and not taking these things into consideration might be the main reason why we miss it, right? And I've talked about it yesterday a little bit about the disenchantment of the fight. You know, it's one thing for the boxing space to feel however they're going to feel about this fight. It's one thing for the legacy of this fight to be in turmoil because of maybe the competitive nature of the fight not being there like people think it should be. But it's another thing for when the fighters mentally start to buy into the idea as well. I think Tank Davis doesn't necessarily buy into this fight not being a good fight. I think he knows that this fight's probably going to be a good fight and has the potential to be a good fight. He has the history there with Lamont Roach. But I wonder if the disenchantment and the inner turmoils that are going on inside of the PBC right now, with their ability to facilitate the biggest fights, with rumors circulating about his relationship and Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis not being as solid as it once was, but still there, right? I don't want to start no weird rumors saying that they're not working with each other, but there are rumors circulating about the nature and the structure and the aesthetics of that relationship in comparison to what it looked like back in the day when it was super solid and impenetrable. Now it seems like the relationship is beginning to kind of wear and tear a little bit at the ends. And obviously the relationship that Tank Davis has with boxing in general, as far as a profession, seems to be in turmoil as well. Does any of that energy that we're talking about that I've highlighted translate into some sort of lackluster performance by the one of the faces of boxing, Gervonta Tank Davis? And in the midst of that turning out or manifesting into potentially not the best Tank Davis that we've ever seen, is there space in there for Lamont Roach to capitalize on some opportunities to take advantage of something going on right now? And I think that makes the fight a little bit more intriguing. It does make the fight a little bit more interesting, because in my mind, without a doubt, if Tank Davis is the Tank Davis who fought Frank Martin, I don't think Lamont Roach, I genuinely would be telling you Lamont Roach doesn't stand a chance. I think that Tank Davis was locked in, focused, took all the proper precautions in order to make sure that he crossed all his T's and dotted his I's. But Lamont Roach said something significant in the last press conference. He said, I've been hearing it. The street's been talking. You ain't been focused on boxing. You ain't been focused on boxing, bro. Prior to the Frank Martin fight, all the rumors were circulating that Tank Davis was super focused in the boxing, that he was on weight, that Ramadan had just went by, that he got focused, he picked up and became a Muslim. Like, this dude was a better fighter in that Frank Martin fight, mentally and skill-wise, based on how committed he was. You saw videos circulating of him running the track, dancing, being motivated. Everybody was excited to see him come back. I felt the energy when the press conference came, the way he handled the press conference with Frank Martin, all the different intangibles that were there. I don't see those things there right now, Ray. I don't see the excitement. I don't see him training. I don't see the videos. I'm not hearing the streets talking about he's on weight and he don't even have to get on weight because he's walking around on weight. I'm not hearing all those things. Matter of fact, on the opposite side of the spectrum, contrary to all those things that we saw with the Frank Martin fight, I'm seeing a Tank Davis who's frustrated, cussing out the reporters, saying, why y'all keep on bringing up Shakur? Why y'all keep bringing on these fighters? I don't like boxing. Boxing is BS. I'm done with this sport. You know what I mean? I see all these things coming out. And my whole thing is, what does that translate like into the ring? I think we might need to look at those things a little closer and give Lamont Roach a way better chance than we've been giving him based off of that. What say you, Red?
Just based on what you said, you forgot one important piece where he said, I haven't even watched tape on this guy yet. I'll do that later. That seems that right there says like I'm really not interested.
Wait, no, I don't want to cut you off. 2 cents. I'm saying that it's probably going to be a good fight because of these things is what I'm saying. What I'm literally saying to you, 2 cents, is if the same Tank Davis that fought Frank Martin, that motivated machine, calculated killer that was in the ring with Frank Martin, isn't were to show up and fight against Lamont Roach, I don't think this fight is that competitive. I think that Tank Davis needs the highest level of competition for us to see a competitive fight. What I'm saying to you guys is, if this is a different Tank Davis who's not on his P's and Q's, who's not as sharp and focused as we saw him in that Frank Martin fight, this fight has room to be a way more competitive fight. This fight actually becomes more intriguing and more interesting because of the adversity. Go ahead, Ray. I'm sorry.
And to the point is, it just seemed like he's just, like I said, the whole video thing, I'm not really studying him right now and stuff like that. And he was very calm when he was talking about that, you know, different approach. But it just seems like he's just not driven for the fight, like you're saying. Like it's like he doesn't care. He has more things occupying his mind. Those things are more of a distraction than an influence, and it's becoming a focal point of both where is Tank and what does Tank do. How does he approach a Lamont Roach fight? Lamont Roach is on another side of the fence saying, "Look, I got people that go to your gym. I got people on a buzz right now calling me up like, yo, listen, this is where his weaknesses are. Yo, this guy down in Florida and in Miami chilling, playing golf with some other celebrities. Yo, this dude really ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing right now. Like, yo, he buying a new car. You want to know those 3 Ferraris he wanted? Yo, he just bought one. Like, he's test drive. Like, it just seems like there's so much stuff going on outside of what we know. And it definitely has a lot to play on the promotional sides of the events and whatever are making them uncomfortable, and this contract negotiation stuff that has a lot. But here's where the conjunction comes, where Tank thinks he can be Tank, Mike Tyson, Lamont Roach, Buster Douglas, and the motivating tool is, I mean, I really don't have nothing like your mom passing away and you promise her you're going to win the title,
right?
Lamont Roach giving back to the community, whatever, believing in himself, having this mindset going into this ring that I'm going to beat you. And not only am I going to beat you, I'm going to beat you in a rematch, and then I'm going to fight your boy at 140. So, guys, tune in and watch. So, that confidence right there says a lot. And Tank's response to that was like, yeah, right. You know what I mean? It's not like, boy, if we all seen Tank, yeah, you funny. Only thing I got from Tank that was really on a down to earth level, and it didn't even seem like real to me, just looked like he was looking for something, was when he said his dad's hand was shaking. Like, look, he's nervous. Look at him. Look at his hands. Like, to me,
I'm be real with you. I didn't even know that to be fear. That kind of looked like some early signs of some like physical thing going on a little bit.
No,
I don't know
that.
if that
I'm
was
saying
fear.
him throwing that out there,
which could be motivation within itself. We don't know about all the moving parts inside of Lamont Roach's camp right now. We're not sure about how much this fight really means to him and how much is really on the line, and what kind of beast that could be bringing out of this Lamont Roach right now, who's definitely being underestimated. He's definitely being put on the side of a guy who has no chance. And I love Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson approach to this, because a fight where he's not supposed to have no chance of winning, when the right elements come together, when Mike Tyson's partying, when he's not sleeping, when he's playing and partaking in certain recreational activities that aren't conducive to him being the best fighter he can be on a night like this, a Buster Douglas or a Lamont Roach could be looking at this as the biggest opportunity he's ever had. And that can just create something that we've seen happen multiple times in boxing history, which is called the upset. Right? The upset holds a lot of significance, and possibilities are there for it to happen, because he has a Tank Davis that, if he's not focused on the prize if he's not exclusively focused on Lamont Roach, does Lamont Roach need Tank Davis's undivided attention in this fight for him to guarantee a win? Is he able to multitask, dare I ask, by focusing on all these different moving parts and these things he doesn't like, and be the best version of himself, or be enough of the person he needs to be the 100% dialed in Lamont Roach, who's thinking about nothing but Tank Davis?
To that point, no. Tank doesn't have to be 100% dialed in. Maybe the reason why he pulled him up for 130. This is not me trying to be funny, right? I know I ain't listening to Ross Scott. Ross
Scott stupid. He said, "LOL, what bees? Lamont isn't gonna win. Only upset is us fans upset about this bum ass."
He crazy. I know him and Fly Frequency, bro. I be laughing at him while I was watching it.
Oh man,
but yeah, man. At the end of the day, Clay,
help me. What is it going? Help me, nigga. Help me. We trying to sell this fight. We trying to really put some light on this fight. And I don't want to be condescending, right? I don't want to say that we're saying all this from a false place, right? That we actually don't believe what we're saying. We're dialed into what we're saying. We're letting you guys know that, where the potential lies, in my opinion, in this fight is in these, like I call them, intangibles, in these spaces that we're not talking about enough. We keep looking at Lamont Roach's resume. We're looking at Tank Davis's resume. We're looking at the fight. We're doing triangle theory things that supposedly, as a boxing community, we know doesn't play out in boxing, right? And we're not talking about these intangibles. We're not talking about these intangibles enough. And why not talk about these intangibles? The fight is happening whether we want it to happen or not. And 9 out of 10 people inside of this room right here and in the boxing space will catch this fight. Whether you're stealing it, whether you're paying for it, that's your business. We don't know what you're going to be doing in your home, but I can guarantee you when me and Ray Davis pop up the next day or do the next show and we're talking about this fight, everybody's going to be dialed in. Everybody's going to know what happened from firsthand experience. They're going to know because they watched the fight. So if we're going to watch the fight, let's watch the fight like real boxing fans do, and watch the fight and have hopes and expectations of what we'd like to see from a Lamont Roach to make the fight competitive, and also the possibilities of who Tank Davis is going to be that night. These are the intangibles that make fights that didn't seem like they were going to be good or competitive fights some of the best fights you've ever seen. You know what I mean? It happens. Jaime Munguia is an emoji. He's on a highlight reel right now for getting laid down by somebody who had 4 knockouts and 26 wins, bro. It happens because there are intangibles. You need to be focused. The saying goes, you don't play boxing. And there's a reason for it. You got to be focused. Dana White once said in his MMA, whenever he hears one of his fighters talking about they have 1 foot out the door, whenever they're talking about this is their last fight, they're about done, they're about to wrap it up, he always encourages those fighters, don't play with your life. You might as well step off now. Don't do it later, because the guy you're going to get in the ring with you is trying to kill you, bro. He's trying to end you, bro, and he's not thinking like you. He's dialed in. He's thinking about his career, his legacy. You're going to fight the best version of that guy that night. If you're not prepared to be the best version of yourself, which is somebody who's dialed in and committed to this sport, then your life is on the line. So when you hear somebody like Tank Davis talk about this being his last year, when you see him sharing with the space how disenchanted he is with the sport, when you see the PBC production and you hear the rumors moving around about his relationship with his own team in multiple different ways, you got to start factoring those things into what this fight could possibly end up being. It's part of the whole process.
1000%.
You know?
That's over and beyond. It makes all the sense in the world what you're saying right now. Too many people... And it's not, listen, and look, I had fun doing it. I had fun shooting the fight down because I wanted the better fight, right? I had fun doing it. And I didn't shoot the fight down. That's what I just said. You know what I mean? I'm
glad you picked up on it. So listen, continue.
You know what I mean? I had fun trolling the fight. I had fun.
Say less, gang. Do your thing.
Out there. Listen, I didn't tell people they shouldn't watch it. I never told anybody they should not watch the fight. This is going to be a terrible fight. Never told them that. Mm-hmm. So when I say shooting the fight down, I'm saying like the opponent choice, right?
Will you admit at least that the narrative was, and the aesthetics of it was, from the outside looking in, that you were shooting the fight down, even though you actually may not have been doing it? You understand that most people seen us talk about this fight when it was getting put together. We were very disappointed in the choice that Tank made, and it did look like we weren't happy. For me, I wasn't happy, right? I was
keep it real here. I don't even think on this channel we talk much about the Tank Davis Lamont Roach fight. 100%. So we didn't even have, and I wasn't on a lot of channels even talking about Tank and Lamont on a lot of channels.
Right.
Whenever I had a conversation about Gervonta Davis, it was about Shakur or someone else. I ain't listening to 9 Figures.
9 Figures ain't gonna let it go. He's like, no, you gonna own up. He said, you're gonna own this. You ain't gonna do this. You gonna own this. You was doing that. Stop it.
No, he wasn't. Listen,
I love me some 9 Figures, bro. That boy gonna keep it up, honey.
I know he is. He keep it up. He keep it up like his kickboxing.
Like, I don't care. You ain't gonna sell me this nonsense. We gonna double down and we gonna stand on business. It's cool that you changing your mind now, but that's what you doing. You changing your mind because you was where you was at with it.
Go back and watch, bro. Go back and watch. You never heard me say this fight sucks. Never.
I don't know. I don't know, Ray. I don't know if I heard you. I don't know. I'll tell you this as your co-host, you know what I mean? Somebody who builds with you all the time. I never felt like you were happy about this fight. You didn't think, you know what I'm saying? I'll be honest and say that I walked away also feeling like this fight wasn't a fight that you asked for. This was a fight that was lackluster. To say it in the least ways, a lackluster fight, and you didn't expect it to be a successful fight. So it is what it is.
I don't call these things, but I have conversation.
I'm not saying word for word you say that. I'm just letting you know when I walked away feeling like
there could have been better opportunity, right?
Right.
Being better opportunity is not really shooting the fight down. That's really just shooting down shooting down choice of opponent. I never said that.
Come on, Ray. Why can't you just be like?
But you never heard me say Lamont Roach and Tank Davis. Hold on, let me finish. Let me rock. You throw a straw man in. Let me finish. Yeah. You chew on that. Pause. Let me talk. I've never on this screen said Lamont Roach does not deserve a fight like some people have said. I've never said that. Never heard those words come out of my mouth. Okay. I said, look, there's been opportunity of better opponents. I don't know why he went to 130, but you know what? The fight's here. We have to deal with it as it is. I've been on the record of saying that. But do I like it? No. But would I deal with it? Yes. I'm going to do everything in my power to make the fight better. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, bro. I got it. But I'm going to move on. Let's change the conversation.
No, it's all good, bro. It's all good. Listen, man.
I'm figuring up here trying to look.
It is what it is. It is what it is, man.
If you ain't had that revolver, Bradley, I'll come see you, bro.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is, man. But look, man, there's intangibles here, man. I think we're going to watch the fight, and I'm looking forward. I am looking forward to see a competitive fight. You know what I mean? I want to see a competitive fight, and look, Lamont, if you're watching this, if you ever run by this, man, do the work you need to do outside the ring. Whatever happens on March 1st, the best version of yourself. Let it be against the best version of yourself. And put in the work, man. Tank. You box him in the amateurs. I'm sure you've watched him fight in his fights. You know the threat that's standing across the ring from you. You understand all these things. Prepare. You and your father. Give us fans, whether you win or you lose, make this fight a better fight than most people think it's going to be. And Tank, you know what I mean? Shake it off, brother. Don't take it so personal. You know what I mean? There's going to be detractors. There's going to be people that push back. There's never 100% of the people that's going to agree with what you're going to do. So just do you, man. And what we know you to be is one of the best boxers pound for pound in the world, bro. Be that guy that night. You know what I'm saying? Because I think Lamont Roach is the type of fighter who could take advantage of a lot of shortcomings. If you leave holes there, I expect Lamont Roach to jump all in those holes. Pause. You know what I'm saying? And we as boxing fans, we're gonna call it regardless, man. I can't wait to hear the call out at the end of that fight. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie to you. That is definitely one of the most exciting parts of this fight that I think most fans are looking forward to. Is we want to hear the call out. I want to see who the next call out's going to be. It's going to be yours. When you call out this fighter, Tank, this is going to be a fight that legitimately may be the first fight. I think, in my opinion, will be the first fight that I'm going to say Tank Davis made happen, right? You can say whatever you want to say. The fight that happened with Frank Martin, he can say, listen, I was matchmaked. That's what happened. That's who was available. They offered him to me, so I took it. With the fight with Lamont Roach, it can be argued that, look, he tried to reach out to Shakur. He tried to reach out to Rayo. He tried to reach out to De Los Santos. These are fights that he obviously wanted to happen. Those fights didn't happen. What actually happened was Lamont Roach. But this call out is going to be Tank Davis's official statement to the world, letting the world know who he wants to fight next. And we're waiting to see that. That's going to be fun to watch, man. So good luck to everybody on that night, man. Let's move the needle a little bit past this converation now. Let's go into
run away from it because I'm getting jumped in the corner.
Oh, listen, man, you called for it, man. It was coming. You know what I mean? Welcome. It's part of the it's part of it all,
that's
right?
Cool. Listen, I got never mind. Let's not go there.
Right. It is what it is. Moving forward with the conversation, going into Devin Haney. Videos circulating right now. Devin Haney working with Nate Jones. He's added Mickey Bates to his camp, but you've seen videos of him working on his defense and also working on turning his punches over properly. He's working on power shots. He's working on becoming a stronger fighter, but at the same time, rumors has always been, according to not even rumors, Mick Bay says that Devin Haney will be competing at 140 pounds, that he actually makes the weight very easily, that he actually is not a big person like we think he is. So for all intensive purposes, he's inside of the 140-pound weight class division conversation. When you think about that, obviously you think about the new crown champion, Richardson Hitchens. You think about Teofimo Lopez. You think about all the champions. You think about Alberto Puello, Sandro Martin. You think about Rayo Venezuela. I mean, if Gary Antoine wins that title against Rayo, then you'll be thinking about Gary as well. You're thinking about Jack Catterall. We can go down the list. Liam Paro, all the great fighters that are sitting there at 140 pounds. But Devin Haney circulating these training videos hasn't translated into an actual fight announcement. And then we see the extra things, right? We see him throwing shots, him and Jalil Hackett kind of going at it, Jalil Hackett's father going at it. You still see Bill Haney starting his campaign of what we've always known him to be, which is starting to circulate with, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I will use the word in the lightest way possible, antics that he's driving right now, doing what he does, right? Bringing attention to DHP brand, bringing attention to his son. You'd like to believe that this is going to add up into something at some point. Devin Haney's return doesn't need to be right now. Is that what we need to happen? How bad does it need to happen? You know, like, what are you expecting to come out? And what are you looking forward to see from Devin Haney at this point as well?
So first and foremost, Puello, we were talking about this yesterday. I did some research. Puello is still interim champion. He's Devin's the champion in recess. That belt is actually vacant at the time. That's why they're fighting for the championship.
Hold on, I don't mean to cut you. I'm so sorry. 47 people in the building. I haven't been looking. We got 33 likes. Please, guys, show some love, baby. Show some love, man. Let's keep the channel on the right algorithm. Put the likes up in there. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please take some time to take in consideration and doing that as well. And oh yeah, guys, don't be scared to throw a little color in the chat, man. Show a little love. Make my chat look a little prettier, man. It don't gotta be $100. You know what I mean? Don't be scared. Throw a little color in there. Make it look like we're cooking up in here. Let's get it, man. Go ahead, Ray. My bad. I'm always my bad because I'm always.
No, it's all good. It's all right, man. Listen.
I'm gonna throw another one of these in my mouth right here. Pause and let you cook.
There you go. There you go. I was just saying that we were just talking about the champion situation with Devin and Puello yesterday. There you go, Mr. Big Plate Bray, my brother. There you go.
Read it.
All right. What's the difference?
I mean,
a call out and a hit list. Wow. I guess a hit list is more like a wish list, right? That's the people that you would like to see. A call out is more of me directly getting in your face and trying to like pressure you into a fight. You know what I mean? As opposed to just me putting you on the list. That's just something that I would like to do. I think we can go by saying that a lot of people as champions from Teofimo, Lomachenko, Kambosos, Devin Haney, multiple fighters at 135 have called out. Have put Tank on a wish list. But they have also been in front of the mics calling him out. It's a difference between being in an interview where you're like, hey, listen, these are guys I would like to fight. The key word is what I would like to do. Mm-hmm. And, hey, you're next. Or, hey, I want to fight this guy. Salute Mr. Rain in the building. Salute. You know what I mean? That's the main difference. You know what I mean? And the way you basically approach it. So not saying you want to fight somebody, it is what it is. Like, it's not. I'm sorry, not saying that you're not going to get in the ring and call somebody out or get into their face and things of that nature. That's the difference. But when you go out there and you're like, hey, yo, I want this fight next. Hey, I want to fight you, or this, and that. But just saying, hey, these are the guys I would like to fight eventually. You know what I mean? And I can't wait to get in the ring with them. That's just basically me having a conversation, basically, of people on a list I would like to fight, as opposed to me wanting to say, hey, Cambosis, me and you next, bro. I need to fight you. I need those titles. That's more of a call out.
No doubt. Let me give my little perspective on it. Well, you know what, Mr. Big Play, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you, right? Maybe, you know, at times in my life watching boxing, I would say the list would count as call outs, right? But what did we see happen at the press conference with Tank Davis? What did he do? When did I say I wanted to fight that guy? When did I tell you I was going to fight that, right? So he was able to get away from the reality of the situation, which is we all heard you speak on this list and we all counted on you fighting the guys on this list, but he threw it back in our face and said that we might have overstepped our thought process, that what he was actually communicating may have not necessarily been call outs, but maybe more who he's willing to fight, right? Just because he's willing to fight somebody doesn't mean he wants to fight them. Doesn't mean he's calling them out, right? Now, me and you know, Mr. Big Play, and as well as Ray and a lot of people in the chat, we understand that a list is the same thing as calling out a fighter, but he does get away with that because he can go on paper to say that he didn't word for word technically say, that's the next fight I'm making happen. I'm going to make those fights happen. Well, he doesn't get that when he does his call out on March 1st. See, March 1st, when that microphone is in front of him, and that guy says, all right, Tank, everybody's been waiting on it. You said you had somebody that you were going to be calling out. Who are you calling out tonight in front of the world? When Tank Davis puts his lips together and he says, this is the fighter, there's no way out of it. It's a legitimate call out, and we can legitimately hold him accountable for what happens after that moment. But yes, technically speaking, Mr. Big Play, you got a point, brother. What's the difference? The difference is he can't do what he just did in that press conference when he told everybody that he had no interest in fighting Shakur, that he never promised to fight these fighters. He's not going to be able to do it after that night. That's the difference. Go ahead, Ray.
To me, it's a thin line. Like, we can look at a hit list as a call out, but it's not. It's just basically saying, look, these are fights that can be made. It's me putting people on notice, like, hey, listen, I'm listening to you, and we can make these fights. I'm actually on Tank's side on this a little bit. We're saying that he never literally said, I'm coming to fight you. He never got in the ring with one of these guys. He never only person made a fact that he may have said that he wanted to fight, that he was going to break their jaw, was Devin Haney, right? And I'm going to make your dad cry. That's really the only guy he significantly called out and said that he would fight him. Everybody else, he just said that they were on the list. They're going to be on the list. You know what I mean? He wants these fights. Wanting and needing are two different things. We all know that, right? And him getting in the ring and saying that he wants to fight somebody, or him calling somebody out and saying he's going to hurt them, those are two different things to me. A call out is really more of a and you know, you've been there. You had conversations in the middle school, and we all say middle school because high school, I ain't having much fights in high school. They was really on lockdown on that, bro. They was throwing you out for like good. So I need to graduate. But in middle school, you can get away with that. There was rumors and stuff where people were like, yeah, man, I could beat this guy, I could beat that guy. I don't mind fighting him. But then there was points where, yo, you talking, you know what I mean? Yo, let's get it in. Two different points to me. You know what I mean? It's not like me and my boys talking about who I can beat or who I would like to fight, to somebody me being like, yo, I want to fight this guy. You said Tank seems he is ducking the smoke when he's under fire. It could be. I mean, listen, I'm not.
Yo, salute.
Yeah, thank you, Nine Fingers.
Support for the channel, brother. Thank you, King.
I take everything back that I said about you.
Yeah. Yo, Nine Fingers, I don't care what they say about you. I always tell them, man. I don't care what they say about you. My dude.
No, he don't.
I
don't
do.
Listen to him.
Yo, I do, man. Don't let Ray distract you, bro. That's not true, bro. Always, brother. I don't care what they say, and they say stuff. They say stuff, Nine Fingers. Let me stop playing. Shout out for the $10 holler, man. I appreciate you. Oh, we got an oldie but goodie, man. We got some family. I mean, we got some family that came to visit in the town, living on the other side of the country that popped in. Shout out to Sean Phil in the building, bro. Sean was good, baby. What's good? That's old family, right? I went there. Sean, that's Phil in the building. Shout out to you, man. That's family right there. He only pop up out of nowhere, bro. Holidays, you know what I'm saying? Family reunions, funerals. You know what I'm saying? That's normally when we see Sean pop around. But whenever you walk in the door, somebody get this dude a slice of cheesecake and get some of that mac and cheese he loves. Get him together, man. Come on in, Sean. Come on in, Sean. Take a seat, brother.
Guys. No alcohol. Just Gatorade for this guy.
You know how he like it, straight, no chaser. Get him a glass of his drink. Sit down, Sean. Nice to see you, brother. He back in the building for a good one. That's what's up, man. For a good time, not a long time. I know, baby. We love you, man. Hope everything's been good with you, though, by the way, family. Hope everything's been working out for you, man.
I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You put me on like 9 times today, man, and that one made me lose my train of thought.
I get excited when I see Sean come around. You pop up.
I seen him too. Yep. I was like, yo, look who here. I should have said nothing. I should have waited. Yeah. But it's cool. It's cool.
Yo, let me also shout out to the super chat, Joaquin Arizola support, fam. Thank you, King. And man, I'm gonna tell you straight up, it's the color, man. The color motivates it a little bit. It ain't even about the dollar amount or nothing like that. We appreciate it, but the color in the chat does do something aesthetically to the eyes, man. So we appreciate all the support and all the love from everybody, man. Thank you guys, man. Let's keep on building. My bad, Ray. You're gonna have to find yourself. Cool. I know you forgot your spot. Do the best you can, brother.
I gotta remember where I was. I don't even know where I was, man. I'll be honest with you. Next.
Yeah, next. Okay, cool. Let me I'm sorry. We're about to open the panel up as well. We're gonna throw the link up very shortly. We really popped off on everything we were talking about. What was it that we were just talking about though, for real, in real time?
I don't know, man.
Were we still on Tank and Lamont a little bit?
No, it was just Tank, but it was a question we were answering about Tank, but I don't even know what it was. I don't even
the call outs and the difference between the call out and the actual list and the difference in between them and all those things, right? It is what it is. It is what it is, man. Shout out to everybody showing love.
I don't smoke, man. I don't indulge.
Nah, we good. Oh man, Phil's showing love, man. Damn, man. Thank you, Phil.
Let's go, Phil. Support.
Yeah, salute. the green. We got blue lights, yellow lights, green lights. Yeah, it is kind of Christmassy up in here right now. It is a little Christmassy up in here. Showing support. Appreciate you, Phil. Thank you, King. Thank you, King. But yeah, man. At the end of the day, man, I'll take it from here and you grab it whenever you pause. Whenever it makes sense.
I give you big eyes on that.
We get good on those pauses. Shout out to Cameron and Mace. We good on the pauses. Salute the Motorsports Motorsports. But listen, man, at the end of the day, the Tank Lamont Roach fight has these intangibles. The fight has a lot of opportunity to be great. And we're gonna, we're catching all the boxing going on, obviously, right? And David Morrell and David Benavidez looking like the hottest things since sliced bread right now for 2025. Dare I say they put themselves in that conversation with that Riyadh season card. That fight by itself may carry the energy alone without the undercard. And the undercard is not dry and ashy either. Right? Come on, Ray. It's Wednesday. You ain't got no job and you ain't got ish to do. You know what I'm saying?
You talking to me like I'm Tommy, bro.
He let you know, bro. Don't play. Today's the day you can play, man.
Yeah, I know. I got it.
But shout out to us adults out here who's still under the thumb of somebody who's telling us what to do, and we can't afford to pop hot on none of these tests, man. You know what I'm saying? We don't own our own. We don't own our own. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. It's love. It's love. I'm gonna throw the link out there, man, and let everybody tap in.
Man. Build with us today, for real.
You know what I mean?
One of those fun days, man. It's a good time in boxing where we can just chill out. We can build on anything. I'm taking notes, so you know what I mean. You want to build up here, you want to battle. You know what I mean. I'm ready.
Yeah. Actually, let's get the likes up as well, man. There's 42 people in here. I'm sure there's people who haven't hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, definitely do that.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
What I mean? It is
Joaquin.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is. What's going on today? Let me see something real quick here. There was something else. There was definitely another. Did you hear about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson? What the actual numbers was on the new subscribers that Netflix actually acquired?
No, but I'm pretty sure it was crazy. And
1.43 million new Netflix subscribers, bro.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was something crazy like that before they mentioned before the real numbers came out, right? So let's check it, Clay. That's why they made so much money. But let's check this. Yo, they about to really bring boxing back. If they
Netflix?
Yeah, if they tie into boxing, UFC, WWE, they might be able to make some.
Did you hear about in this Tyson Fury Alexander Usyk rematch? Did you hear about the AI judging that they were going to be using?
No.
Did you hear about this?
I want to see it.
Artificial intelligent judging. Now, I don't think I mean, I would question it. I don't think they would actually allow that judging to actually be a legitimate judge in the fight.
It's probably more of a CompuBox type thing to give a better comparison to what they see in the ring, so they have a more accurate. Because CompuBox is just somebody hitting a. You know what I mean?
Right. They're watching it in a room, in a hotel room, or in a private room outside, and they're hitting the buttons, watching it from TV. The guy who does inside boxing with Chris Algieri. I can't remember that guy's name, but they have a little podcast that they got going. That guy's father is actually the guy who invented CompuBox. Like, that dude grew up. You know what I'm saying? It's his father's invention. Literally, that's why his family's rich. He kind of gave description on how that's working out, that it's human beings, that they're in a private room, they're watching it from the TV, they're not just sitting by the ring doing it, you know what I'm saying? And they're actually sitting here trying to collect the CompuBox here, but it's still a human involved in it. And AI has become a very interesting thing in the world today. The way AI has been used,
and also scary. You said Paulie AI?
Yeah, no. He just said Paulie. Not Paulie. No. The one, not Paulie is it Paulie? Is that his name as well? The guy who Chris Algieri works with, because I know Paulie Malignaggi, who does Pro Box. So I'm actually talking about Chris Algieri has an actual separate podcast with a dude, and that guy's father that I'm talking about. I mean, I could look it up and get the name if that's what y'all want me to do. He was actually the guy that Tank whispered in his ear and said he was going to be calling out somebody. When he said he was going to be calling out somebody, that guy. It was that guy. His father's the one who invented the CompuBox thing. I mean, Rod Scott, we can say that it's trash, but let's be honest, it's all that we got. Like, what's that closest thing that we got to getting an understanding outside of us doing it ourselves? That's the closest thing we got, man.
It's one of those moments where both things are true at the same time. It's trash and all we got.
That's all we got. But so, I mean, if anything, the introduction of artificial intelligence into the conversation shows obviously that some people in the boxing space are acknowledging how not dependable CompuBox has been as well. Right. So that's really the whole conversation right there.
There you go. There's his name.
Yeah. Dan Canobia. Yeah, Sean. Exactly. That guy. You know what I mean? So artificial intelligence, brings some sort of, I guess the goal would be for it to be unbiased in one way or another, and just to be calling it straight across the board. And obviously humans are still involved in just the creation of the artificial intelligence. So that there is room in there for corruption, no matter how we paint it. But artificial intelligence does seem to serve a real purpose in things just working out. Like, if you go to what do they call it?
Meta Quest.
No, what's the AI? ChatGPT. Okay. If you go into ChatGPT and you ask it questions, that thing is really impressive. Like, you literally could damn near have a conversation with it. Like, it's like Siri, or what's the thing that y'all use in your house all the time? Like, you'll be like, yo, play my song.
I'm not gonna say because my thing's right here in front of me.
But what is it called? Just say it and just tell it to shut up when it talks to you. Alexa, exactly.
Never mind.
This is like Alexa 10.0. Like, ChatGPT is really impressive.
You gotta
stop
saying
it will. ChatGPT is like literally reading. It's like literally writing speeches for you. It's literally writing scripts for you. It's making jokes for you. You want to make a rap song. Make a rap song about girls in the club. It will make a song for you. Write the lyrics, and it will be like competitive. To I want the song to sound like a Jay-Z song, and the bars will drop very Jay-Z-ish, where you're like, damn, I can see that it took Jay-Z's whole entire personality into consideration when it wrote the song. It's actually very impressive. I hear you, Rod Scott. No machine is better than man, but I hear you. You know what I mean? I think as mankind, we've all had to embrace our imperfections as part of what makes us unique, and the good and the bad things that come with it. But at the same exact time, it does seem like when it comes to people, absolute power, a large percentage of the time corrupts absolutely. And, you know, machines, you'd like to think, don't have that same issue, right? But we can't never disregard the fact that man is making the machine, and if he's translating all the best versions of us into the machine, that there's room also for the actual colonizing, absolute power, dominating, supreme tendencies that we carry into everything we do, and the competitive nature that we carry into everything we do in the life. And the computers probably can fall to the feet of all those things, right? So it is what it is. But I think at the end of the day, more importantly, it's interesting enough to say that artificial intelligence will be involved in this fight on Saturday, and it will be calling the fight, the punches and whatever it's doing. I don't even know. And that's another question. In what capacity is the artificial intelligence being used, right? Like, is it just calling this the punches, or is it actually calling like rounds and being like, this guy won the round because of aggression, because of power shots versus body shots, because of during generalship and compare, you know what I mean? Body language, is it reading like, you know what I'm saying? Is it reading when somebody gets hurt? Is it reading when somebody stumbles? Is it reading the effectiveness of the aggression? Like, what's it doing, Ray? What do you think about the whole idea of it?
I was just thinking that at the end of the day, are they going to is it going to be something in the gloves that's going to just register full contact, lesson contact, punches thrown and miss, things of that nature? I don't really know, but I'm on the board with Roscloud, because first thing I said when we talk about AI is it goes from iRobot to the robots taking over and Terminator to us ended up with the Matrix. You know what I mean? So, and them enslaving us. So unfortunately, this is just all movies, but you know, some movies, you know, some things are just crazy out there. I don't want to be a conspiracist, but at the end of the day, man, I don't know how they're going to do it, man. Are they going to do it? It could be something that they're going to just do up top. You know, pause. They're going to have a camera over top of the ring, and that camera will see the shots land and things of that nature, and how the contact points are, where the footwork is. Like you said, does it control the balance of the fight? You know what I mean? Does it call it as it is? I mean, as what it sees, and then it leaves all questions in doubt. I don't know. I really don't know. But again, it is a machine, and it can be programmed. It can be programmed to give the right people or the wrong people to win. What's up to Rich in the building? Rich, I ain't gonna tell you. You heard my comment yesterday. I know you seen it. Shout out to you, bro. Listen, that was a great move. Me and Clay talked about it. I'm not gonna bring it up on this channel. But you know what I mean? I did happen to tap in at that moment, and I was like, okay. Man, bro,
okay, yeah.
I'm gonna leave it there, but that was some interesting conversation, man.
I'll add to it and say, never bring nothing light to a great mind. You play with his intelligence, it might come off a little bit, you know what I mean? You might listen, man, respect my mind, right? Too rich, respect my mind, bro, and approach me with some real talk, or I might have to humble you. And it sounds like you might have had to enlighten some people about who they talking to.
I like to have intelligent boxing talk, but man, they want to go there. I can call a spade, man. That's easy. A lot of straw man stuff going on. But then I'm just like, you have certain facts. If we stick around the facts, the story a little bit more clear. I'm not saying people can't have opinions, but don't disregard the facts to spread your opinion. You feel me?
Right.
But yeah, man, what's going on? Salute to y'all, man. Good show. I've been listening in.
For real.
No doubt. We building on the intangibles, you know what I mean? When we were talking about the Lamont Roach Tank Davis fight, and obviously talking about we've obviously pushed back enough at the fight. We know that that's not the fight the space asked for, but also embracing the idea that no matter what we're talking about at this point, we also need to embrace the idea that the fight is happening one way or the other. It's actually happening. And as boxing fans, we're going to watch the fight. I don't care how much we're disappointed in it. And if we're going to watch the fight, then what are we looking forward going into the fight? What's the best opportunity that Lamont Roach has to make this fight competitive? As I do believe the pressure is on Lamont Roach to make this fight competitive, being that most of the boxing space doesn't give him a real opportunity at winning this fight. And then we spoke about Tank Davis's intangibles, the disenchantment with the sport, the inner turmoils of the PBC right now, potentially affecting him to the point to where he's talking about retirement and having a foot outside of boxing, talking that way does that bring a Tank Davis that's vulnerable in any kind of way that gives Lamont Roach an opportunity to find anything that he can capitalize on to make this fight as competitive as it can be, and dare I say the taboo word in the room, cause an upset? What do you think, Too Rich?
You know, the way I see the fight, and I think what a lot of people miss is you have the fight. That's something totally separate. What most fans complain about is the matchup. See, you can have something that's a cherry pick matchup, but when we actually watch the fight, it's still a fight. It's still a good fight. And as we saw with Munguia, anything can happen in a fight, regardless of the cherry picking or not. Now, I look at this fight totally different, man. I know it's Davis versus Roach, but in my mind, the fight is really Roach versus Davis. I think Roach has, he has been through some things in his career where it could have went the other way, and now he's back here. I definitely think he's driven. I don't think he's in there just to sell his chin for a check. I think it's more legacy driven for Roach. Here's your moment. You stayed in it. You overcame, and here you are. Here's your reward. Okay, now combine that with Tank, seeming a little bit off, talking about retirement. I definitely think that plays a part if that's where your mind is. Something else that's kind of different for this fight for Tank. We're hearing about a fight after the fight. We're talking about a Keyshawn Davis fight after the Roach fight. Seems like we're thinking past this fight a little bit. So I definitely think, hey man, it got all the, I would say, I guess the intangibles of a cherry pick can go wrong. And it's definitely a cherry pick. We're not gonna confuse that. But I like Roach. I like his character. I know a lot of the boxing dads get problems, but I'm telling you, as a man, when you got your dad behind you, that's another drive, man. That's another reason not to show weakness, another reason to be strong. So I think Lamont Roach is very driven. Combine that with Tank, he seems a little bit off. Roach mentioned that maybe something going on the streets, something's a little bit off. It could be an upset. We've seen a lot of upsets, man. It could be. Now we picked Tank to win, no doubt about it, no doubt about it. But it could be a Buster Douglas moment. It could be this is Roach moment. We know you got a chance. We know the fight is gonna happen, and I think Roach gonna fight his heart out. And we just got to see what the outcome is.
So I have a question for you to answer too. So with the last fight that happened with Munguia, you think that gives him more ideal abilities to think that he has a more of a chance now, being that he just seen that in the fight, knowing that he probably always believes he has a chance. Most people believe they can win a fight, no matter how difficult the task, they believe that they are the guy. But do you think what just happened with Bruno and Munguia or Haney that just took place, do you think that builds more confidence in Roach camp?
Yeah, I definitely do. I definitely do. I think all the upsets have, I think they definitely beat it. I believe they think they beat Tank outright. Now, I don't know if a lot of people went and watched the fight in the amateurs that's on YouTube, but I went and watched it. I clipped it up and made a short of it. But Tank did kind of outclass him, but what I would say, it was a fight. Like Roach wasn't, somebody that he's not somebody that's gonna back up. In some ways he's tailor-made for Tank because he's coming. He's gonna come. He's one of those guys that believes he's supposed to win. So I do believe he's gonna fight like that. Now, does he have the actual talent or the power? That's to remain to be seen. But I do think he has the will. I definitely think he has the will. So I even made a short saying that I like the fight because I believe Tank is really 130 pounder. The fight should be at 130 for Roach belt. You see what I mean? So I definitely think Roach is a little bit taller, which we know that don't mean much, but I think that means something for him that he's saying, I'm gonna go get this dude, man. I'm gonna show y'all. Get ready for the second fight. I like it. I like the talk. I like the mindset. And I think it's gonna be way more competitive than people think it is.
No doubt. Let me bring in Coach Eddie in the building. Salute Coach Eddie in the building, man. Hope everything is going well over there. Glad you found some time to make it in here and contribute to the conversation. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. Salute to everyone on the panel, brother. Thanks for having me up once again. Hey, like I said, I want to echo what my man said. Everything y'all been talking about is kind of spot on always, man. But I want to bring up something maybe a little different twist or spin on it, like the cherry pick. I think that's I ain't gonna say it's new, but I think it's more of a term that we've been using on a regular basis. And I think that kind of falls into the category where guys are not really fighting their mandatories. You know, when you're a champion, it was back in the day, you fought the guy who was next. You didn't just go, you just didn't deviate from your mandatory. They were called challengers then. They wasn't called cherry picks because that meant that guy worked his way up through the ranks. He put the work in and he deserved that shot, and he deserved a shot at the title. And what we're seeing now is guys just picking this arbitrary guys just out the blue. They say, wait a minute, where'd this guy come? This guy been sitting on the couch for 3 years. And now all of a sudden he's getting a shot at the freaking title, like, you know, what Canelo did with Aldi Yildirim. You know, just pick a guy. And I think so. But it used to be challenger, champion versus challenger. And I think that's what's missing right now is that champion versus challenger mentality. And what Roy Jones spoke about is the ego for missing in boxing. You know, I want to see who the best is, not just to make them, make the money, fine. But these guys, they really want to see who the best fighter was.
Right.
But as far as Lamont Roach, hey man, I give him a shot, man. Not a puncher's chance. I give him a legitimate chance to pull this victory off, man, because these guys know each other. They done rounds before. And once you've been in the ring with somebody, there's really no element of surprise. I mean, how much can a guy really change at some point in time? You kind of know where his abilities are. You kind of know, he maybe got a little stronger. Yeah, definitely you're going to get better because you got more experience, more patience. But at the end of the day, I mean, everything is pretty much similar. So you're going to have that comfort level of being in the ring with him before, whether it's fighting and also sparring. I think that's one reason why Tank Davis never really took the Devin Haney fight, just because of being familiar with him and knowing that style, even though Devin Haney might not be the biggest puncher, but that style presented a problem to Tank Davis, which was a guy that can move, use his feet, you know, nice little jab, had a little range on him and stuff, and an IQ. And the one thing about it, we know about boxing, a lot of champions pick who they're going. They fight their sparring partners. Yeah, we know that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, throughout history, you fight guys that you spar with because you're familiar with these guys. And a lot of time that plays a factor. But I give Lamont Roach a great chance to win this fight. I hope it's a good fight.
Yeah, man. I think it can be a way more competitive fight. And, you know, it's interesting when we talk about it in that way, when we actually start to speak into the fight now and stop, you know, expressing our disenchantment with the fight, disapproval of the fight, the legitimacy of the fight. And we start speaking into the actual reality that no matter what we're saying, the fight is here. It's going to happen, and we're going to watch it. So how are we going to watch it? Are we going to watch it complaining and whining about how this is not a real fight the whole time? Or are we going to be actually looking to see what Lamont Roach can contribute to this fight to make it competitive, and also what version of Tank Davis is ultimately going to be in the ring that night across the ring from Lamont Roach, and acknowledge that could affect the whole trajectory of the fight. That all these outside intangibles, as well as like Too Rich said, the father in Lamont Roach's corner, the ability for Lamont Roach to tap into something deep that gives him more of an edge than he ever would have had fighting against a Hector Garcia or fighting against Shaki Foster or Emmanuel Navarrete or Raymond Ford, or, you know, these fighters that are great fighters in their own right. But this is a big deal. Gervonta Tank Davis, him fighting Gervonta Tank Davis, I think, in my opinion, is kind of equivalent to a Terrence Crawford and Canelo. Or I don't mean like it's size difference, just to say how seriously, you know, they always talk about fighters like Boots and Terrence always talk about they want to be in a fight with somebody that's going to give them something to get up to, you know what I mean? Something to get them up and motivate them to be the best version of themselves. And this fight presents an opportunity for Lamont Roach to have a fight that he can get up for, you know what I mean, in comparison to other fights that he might just be going through the regular runaround of just being a professional boxer, looking to be a prize fighter, getting his payday, getting his belts. This fight might be a fight that causes Lamont Roach to step up in a way that no other fighter could bring out of him. His buttons are obviously getting pushed. His switches are getting switched up. He's dialed in for this fight. And the question is Tank Davis just as dialed in and focused on Lamont Roach? And if he's not, what can that look like in a fight? Let's move the needle, though, for everybody on the panel, because we've been talking about all these different things. What do you think about the press conference yesterday with David Benavidez and David Morell? How do you guys feel about it, man? Are you sold? Are you more excited about this fight? Did it do anything for you? Do you think the fight needed it? And ultimately, where do you stand today on a fight between David Morell and David Benavidez on the back end of that press conference yesterday?
Hey man, that was a great press conference. Now I think I mentioned on here before that this is a fight Benavidez shouldn't be in. It's no reason for it. You know. So to me, this not a fight. This a fade, man. This a fade. These two dudes want to fade. They trying to catch a fade, and that's what that press conference represented. That this is personal. You know what I mean? So that's gonna make it a great fight. But I see challenges. We go technical. You know, I haven't done an official breakdown, but I've looked at it, and the things I see. When David Benavidez was at what 168 or whatever, he was bigger than those guys. He was taller. So if we think about, we always hear about David Benavidez hand speed. His trajectory is from bottom up. He throws a lot of uppercut. That's what his strength is. He doesn't have a good body. He doesn't have strong shoulders. So at 175, these guys are bigger. So now he's pressed to throw punches upward. That's not his strength. That's why it comes off as if he doesn't have the same power. It's purely about the trajectory. At 168, he can come up like, you know, those uppercut, fast uppercut. At 175, he's gonna have to throw from the shoulders. He's gonna lose power on his punches. And Morell is gonna be natural for him. And Morell, I think, is a southpaw. That fight, it's tricky because that guy the same size as David, man. I don't think David had the same advantages that he used to. He has the mindset of a guy with those same advantages, but I think this is more definitely a 50-50 fight where David has the experience. But hey, man, this could be trickery. I don't think it's not about David not having power, but his punch trajectory is definitely different at 175 than it was at 168.
Good breakdown.
Good breakdown for sure, man. Coach Eddie, you want to top in?
You know what? That was a great point, man. I never really thought about that because, like you said, a lot of the guys that David was fighting, guys like Kyron Davis, those guys were shorter and they would squat down, you know, to try to take the onslaught. So they was right in David's wheelhouse, right there in front of him. He was able to run quick combinations on them. And also he was able to pressure those guys and put their backs on the rope. So eventually just turning those guys into a heavy bag. You know, you get a guy stationary on the ropes, he's basically a heavy bag with the earmuffs on. So you can tee off on him. We've seen it when he fought Voshnik. He was never really able to hurt Voshnik. And this was a guy with 37, 38, you know, on the tail end of his career. I mean, not washed up, but clearly not in his prime. And he never really hurt Voshnik. He never really buckled him. He never really done anything to phase him. Those punches didn't have the same effect. Right. Another thing I want to say is that when he fought Demetrius Andrade, he weighed in at 195 pounds, rehydrated. When he moved up to light heavyweight, he actually weighed in lighter. He weighed in at 189 pounds. So this man moved up 7 pounds and came in 6 pounds lighter. Now, make that make sense.
Okay, wow, you know, wow.
So when he fought, I'm saying when he fought Andrade, he may have had, you know, I'm just speculating. This is my opinion. He may have had a little something extra going on. Because you coming in lighter, but you weighing more. Yeah, you know, so I thought that was weird to me. But I like the fight. It's a fight that he doesn't have to take because he could easily done the Canelo thing and said, you know what, this guy ain't done anything. He's only got 11 fights. He ain't never fought nobody. He could have did the old duck language thing. He doesn't deserve a fight with me, but David truly is a fighter. David has an ego. David really showed me that he wants to smoke. You know what I'm saying? He didn't give me no indication that he ducking anything. You know what I'm saying? So maybe, you know, as of right now, I don't see any indication that he's ducking anything right now. So I just put it like that. I like the fight. I like that the guys, it's 11 or 12 fights in, that's getting a shot at a big name, like David, Benavidez, because that could definitely catapult this kid into a whole nother stratosphere if he's able to go in there and defeat the Mexican monster, somebody that Canelo clearly wanted no smoke with, clearly is frightened of, and does not want to share the ring with this guy.
Right.
Or maybe Canelo knows something we don't know, right? You highlighted something very interesting today. I'm going to give it right back to Ray. Like, I'm not even 20 seconds, just acknowledging and celebrating Coach Eddie's point of view, because I never took that into consideration, and I was aware of that, of the weight he was the night against Vozick, but I didn't compare that or remember what he was. You know what I'm saying? When he last fought on 168, and I thought that was very interesting. And funny, obviously, because I'm sure at some point we'll segue into the actual accusations that David Benavidez threw towards David Morell as far as testing was concerned, and as far as David Morell's lack of motivation to do that, and also David Morell's whole entire RoboCop that he said back at David Benavidez, and does that hold any significance in his fight as well? But I'll let Ray Davis carry, man, because I know you was about to run.
You just touched on no points. I was going to ask, what do they think about the whole VADA situation where they went to 24-hour testing in this fight, because they have some pushback towards Morell and his questioning of him only fighting in Minnesota, which we talked about, Clay. And does that have any point, or could that be any of the effects that Morell went in there with, understanding that? Also, me and Clay touched on this, and Clay brought up an excellent point where he said, did the language barrier with him speaking English, telling him he was going to break his jaw, and he was smiling in that first press conference, that presser, where this time he kind of got an understanding, oh, you were telling me you were going to break my jaw? I didn't understand that's what you meant. And did that come in with the handshake and create the whole atmosphere of this, I like the word you use, brawl, this fiasco? You know what I mean? This is no longer a boxing fight, a boxing match. This is actually a real street fight to the points of two men with gloves on going at it. It looks like they have some bad blood at this point. Does this bring back the throwback fighter atmosphere of the early days, or I'm going to say latter days of the 80s, 90s, maybe even the 70s, where these guys were ready to kill each other?
Yeah, I think it does, man, and I also think Benavidez is experienced at this point. I think it's bad blood mixed with Benavidez trying to sell this fight. I think he's trying to sell this fight. He wants a successful event, and he got the motivation because it's actual bad blood. So I think he's going all out to make it a spectacle as well, which is good. It's good. I mean, this is really, like I say, this is a fade, man. This is almost like it's different. You know what I mean? So, but I do think it's a little calculation in it also, which it should be. You know, that's how, you know, we can get people talking about the fight and excited about the fight. But I do think it's bad blood at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely interesting, man. Definitely interesting to say the least. I don't know, how much weight the whole entire PD thing that David Benavidez, obviously, I mean, he put out an argument that does make sense, right? Like, why push back at VADA testing? Why push back at the idea of making sure that this is an even playing field fight, that that you're proving that you're a clean fighter? Why push back at something like that? And especially on top of the fact that rumors and stories have been circulating about David Morell's potential use of PEDs, or lack of testing, or lack of motivation to prove himself that he's a clean fighter at fights that he had in Minnesota, obviously at the Armory and things of that nature. Why compound that by actually pushing back at the idea of at testing, right? That's going to highlight that. But then we can go back on what Coach Eddie said and say, well, what's up with the weight difference? How come going into your last fight at 168, which was that against Demetrius Andrade, I believe, when you came in, 190 plus pounds, at the end of that fight, close to 200 pounds once you rehydrated and everything like that. But in this fight, actually stepping up into being a light heavyweight, come into the fight, 186 pounds, under 190 pounds. How does that work? There were also moves made inside the camp. I know people are aware of it, of things that were added to David Benavidez's camp with Demetrius Andrade. I can't remember what the guy's name was, but there was a guy that was either added or taken away from that camp. And that guy supposedly had a little bit of history following him around about the way he was able to, some of his fighters were popping dirty, and, rumors about what he was doing and his ability to manipulate things. It's all interesting, right? All these outside intangibles that we can't confirm or debunk, but it does make it interesting.
look, Clay, let me say this. I forgot to speak on that part of it. And I could draw from my own experience to say this. Ryan Garcia just shined a light on what's going on behind the scenes. So as a fan perspective, we kind of choose a fan. Oh no, this didn't happen. Because we want the knockout to be real or whatever the case may be. I would just say, man, it's millions of dollars at stake. You can't, it's a saying that if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So that it's definitely guys out there doing whatever, trying to get around any drug test in any field. That's just what goes on. Like I say, I went to school with I was freshman with Steve McNair. I stayed in the sports dorm. With the football players. I'm telling you, man, I done seen some stuff right before the game. Like, you don't tell me what people do and what they don't do. It's a matter of getting caught. And everybody that's behind the scenes, they understand what's going on, just don't get caught. Even in NFL, we don't watch them use the fake penises and stuff. Everybody know what's going on. Everybody know what's going on that's in the game. And it's just a matter, did you get caught? Did you not get caught? So I'm not surprised. It's just a matter if you get caught, if you don't get caught, at the end of the day.
Yeah, you ain't lying, man. I think we all understand that, Victor Conti is just the tip of the iceberg when we're talking about all the extent these athletes go to get that edge in competitive sports, whether it's boxing, whether it's football, baseball, track and field, bicycling, whatever it is. If it's an athletic competition, all athletes are generally looking for that, for as much leverage as they can, as much of an edge as they can get. Some of them stay legit and clean about it. They work out more. Kobe used to go to the gym while everybody else was at the club. You know what I mean? Different little things that people do to get their edge, but some of them obviously being offered quicker ways to cut out the middleman and get a result. You got to think that if they can get away with it, if there's a way to cover it up, that's a reason why most of these athletes are trying it, right? Nobody's trying it or doing it with the anticipation of, I know I'm going to get caught. No, they're thinking they're not going to get caught. And probably there's a lot of them that aren't being get caught, which is motivating the ones that are doing it to give it a shot, because they have a lot of examples probably of athletes that have been on these performance enhancement drugs and getting away with it, passing piss tests, passing blood tests, finding ways to circumvent testing, period, finding ways to affect the timing of it. Like if you take it now, it's only in your blood system for X amount of days, or if you take this and here's masking agents and things that you can do to get around popping on your analysis. All these different things are there. So fighters being caught using performance enhancement drugs will never represent the actual percentage of fighters that are using and getting away with using performance enhancement drugs, which is why testing is so ideal and so paramount. So that's why people get pushback when you see somebody like David Morrell getting accused of, pushing back at the idea of testing. It's gonna bring up it's gonna overshadow the whole event with what's the word I'm looking for, guys? Suspicion. That's the word. It's gonna overshadow the whole situation with suspicion. But it looks like both fighters have done enough to to garner the suspicion, right? Bronze Man, salute to you, King. Memo Heredia, that's the guy I was talking about, who was part of David Benavidez's camp, who was known for playing games with helping people get through using performance enhancement drugs, and his ability and his understanding of the science of performance enhancement drugs and how to circumvent testing. And adding what Coach Eddie said about the differences he saw physically in David Benavidez in comparison to the Boo Andrade fight, and to what he looked like when he pulled up with Vosnik with his debut at 175, a higher weight class, to where he actually rehydrated to a lower weight. Right. Does that have any significance? I don't know, right? It is what it is. But, either way, looking forward to seeing that fight. Let's move the needle. I think we talked about this about as much as we're going to talk about it before it becomes redundant. We also talked about Devin Haney's inevitable return. Video circulating of Devin Haney working in the gym with Nate Jones, a new addition to the camp. And obviously we know about Mickey Bay being added to the camp as well. But at the end of the day, antics in the air, Devin Haney going back and forth with Jalil Hackett, and, putting his nose where he may have not should have been, or where he's free to put his nose, obviously. And also, Bill Haney campaigning right now, running around the different platforms, speaking on inequalities and potential blackballing and, tampering with boxers' careers because of whatever personal issues, and that might be getting in the way of Devin Haney's return, but still periodically showing videos that Devin Haney is actively right now working in the gym, supposedly getting better, acknowledging and making certain adjustments on the back end of a bad fight with Ryan Garcia. Does Devin need to come back right now? Are you guys at all feeling a little bit of are you guys tribulated at all with the idea of Devin Haney getting involved in all these conversations but not being able to announce a fight? And how do you feel about the blackball thing? Is that even a real thing, or does Devin Haney need to humble himself in any kind of way and make getting back into the ring his priority right now, not getting rich off of every single fight he's making? If any of you guys feel like tapping in, please jump in.
Yeah, I think the lack of activity is going to hurt him, man. I mean, these guys, every fight can't be a mega fight. I mean, Floyd Mayweather didn't get paid $200 million every time he fought somebody. I mean, he got paid that when he fought Pacquiao, when he fought Conor McGregor. But some fights he only got paid, and I say only, but it's still a lot. It was only 20, 30, $40 million. So you can't just, every fight that you have can't be a freaking Super Bowl. And I think the lack of activity it's going to hurt him, man. Because Devin is a guy who needs to stay active, needs to stay in the gym simply because his weight, for one. Because when he's not in the gym, this guy balloons up to 170, 175 pounds, and now it becomes a fat camp. And I think he struggled to make 140 pounds. I know he struggled because he still looked like a skeleton when he got on the scale. So you're talking about a guy who really should be a welterweight, and he needs to get active. I mean, and like boxing's like out of sight, out of mind. I mean, Devin Haney, if you're not active, you're not on the tube, people don't care. Boxing, the sport moves on. And I think these guys need to realize that. I mean, Muhammad Ali, people forgot about him. I mean, he's still the greatest, but at the end of the day, boxing is what have you done for me lately. The next best great thing, and right now is who's hot and who's not. And right now, Devin Haney, you're not, because you're not fighting. You're not on the tube. You got to stay in the limelight if you want that limelight. Now we got these new guys who are emerging. You know what I'm saying? We talk about Keyshawn Davis. He's getting his name out there. He's staying active. He's making a lot of noise, and that's what you got to do in boxing. I mean, Devin is getting the wrong publicity. He's getting recognized for the wrong thing right now. It is not boxing. It's all the antics outside the boxing ring. And it really, it's like you're almost over it. Like even with the Tank Davis fight. I mean, I'm sick of waiting for this guy to come around once a year like Christmas. It really doesn't matter. I like what Turkey's doing, staying active. I just like boxing. I'm not a fan of boxers. I think these guys overestimate their star power. Think that people are literally sitting at home twiddling their thumb, waiting for them to come back. Not so. It's really not that happening. It's not happening like that. So he needs to get active. Needs to announce an opponent. You know what I'm saying, and get moving.
Okay, Clay, this is where I was supposed to start talking at.
Do your thing, man.
I got off topic. Remember? So, all right. So my pushback a little bit to that is, I think when Devin did look crazy at his weigh-in during the Ryan Garcia fight was a totally different Devin that we seen at the Regis Prograis fight at his debut at 140. And I think the reason to that is because he put on the muscle. He tried to pack on more muscle. He tried to get more physically stronger to fight and compete with the bigger Ryan Garcia at his full weight without putting a rehydration clause on to try to prove himself and not, as Tank said, he respected Ryan Garcia for who he was, and Devin didn't. Devin went in there without the respect. Freddie, stop flexing. I have to show you what it really got. I'm just kidding. Anyway.
Oh, me stretching? Oh, yeah, I was flexing a little bit. My bad.
That's what you.
I felt good. That stretch was needed. Go ahead.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, I think Devin has taken a page out of Floyd's book, which Tank also took in his last fight with Frank Martin. And I think we've seen a change in Devin where he actually looked like he's walking around a 140, 150-pound fighter. And he can make 140 easily now without having to bulk up and do all these things. He looks in phenomenal shape as of now, as opposed to what he did before. He looks closer to the 140-pound weight. I think we'll see a stronger, more accurate, and balanced Devin Haney than what we've seen in the past. And I'm going to say I think there's going to be some fireworks there. I think he's going to be more stronger to the point where he's willing to put it on the line. When you lose that type of we were just talking about this too when you lose this type of on Just Do channel, I believe, when you lose this type of liquid in your body, you know what I mean, and your meninge has a liquid between that and your brain, your inner meninges, right? That can be catastrophically pushed down. That's why you actually have strokes and things of that nature when you're all muscle and you start pushing all the liquid out your body as you bulk up. So that actually attacks the brain more than it attacks anywhere else. So that's like your final place of liquids in your body. So I think that right there makes you very subjective to getting clipped, getting knocked out, or getting put on your tailbone, right? So that's what happened, I think, in this fight with Ryan. Even though he got caught with the left hook, I mean, regardless, that was a really good shot that he got caught with. But those are the things that help a fighter, help or another opponent be able to capitalize on a good strong punch, and it makes you very feasible to getting knocked out. So I think we also have to look at that as, is that a potential problem that's going to come in with future-wise, or is that going to be indifferent? As far as him naming the opponent, I'm going to close this and land this plane. As far as him naming the opponent, I definitely think he's going to be one of the top guys at 140. I do know he controls the belt situation still there. He just has to wait for the opponent for the WBC to be announced on their side with the Playo and Sandro Martin winner. And I think he jumps right back in. I think that's his weight. I could be wrong, but I think that's what he's waiting for. Hopefully we see a fight soon.
Yeah.
I with Devin, I'm riding with Devin, man. I think Devin was one of the best boxers in the world, man. And I know he had a hiccup, and we don't know how he's gonna look when he comes back. But sometimes you could be a victim of greatness, because where do you go from here? To me, one of the reasons he suffered the loss or whatever it was is because he went away from greatness. There are no easy fights once you become great. As much as the fans or some of these YouTube channels want to downplay the champions, there's no easy fight with champions, and he has set the bar. So he has to go back in. I know we want him to take a tune up or nothing, something like that, but I think he's just geared that he got to go back in there with a champion. And I do think I think the slow up is, where is his mind? After you suffer a loss like that you didn't expect, I think he's questioning his tools. What tools is he bringing? You see what I mean? Where does his power? Does he have power? I think it's a lot of questioning of his self going on right now. So picking the right opponent is important, but I don't think it's no easy opponent for Devin. Now the weight thing is this. I think Devin is 140 pounder. I don't think he's a 147. And I think he's caught in that middle, because I think once he start working out, because he's very disciplined, he's going to lose the weight. So I think he's going to be closer to 140 than he would be to 147. I look at him a lot like Boots. I think Boots is too big for 147 and not big enough for 154. And I think Devin is in that same boat. Brian Norman, I don't know if y'all saw that short that they just put out, man. That boy looks strong, man. I don't know if that's Devin's lane. I don't know if Devin's a natural 147. I think he's 140, but he's so disciplined that could take away from you, because you're so disciplined that he's coming in dead on weight, dead on time. He's looking a little something. He may not really be, just like Boots. Boots, I think, is a tremendous athlete that could lose the weight with no problem. But, do you suffer from that? A guy come in a little bit off weight, you so on weight that it's depleting you just a tad bit, and you don't have the weapons. I think his issue is, where are my weapons? What tool am I bringing to this fight? These dudes are a little bit bigger. They punching a little bit harder. What am I bringing to the table? And I look at them, I see them trying to dodge the left hook. I think it's some mechanical things. There's some mechanical things with Devin that he gonna have to. Same with Shakur. They don't have the tools. We know Tank Davis, he looking to set you up and go for the uppercut. He's comfortable with what his tools are. Keyshawn Davis, he often talking about his stab jabs, front foot, back foot. He's comfortable with his tools. I don't think Devin is quite comfortable with his tool, or they're at least in question. His tools have been questioned on what is this to go to. Now, I will say this, man. I was able to have a little conversation with Bill Haney, and we talked. I'm putting together something for him. Hopefully they let me in there. Hopefully they let me in there. I want to give them something that I think is missing in boxing. You know, and Devin has it. You got to understand, 5 years ago, at 20 years old, he had one of the most hellacious knockouts of the year.
Right.
What happened? What happened? You telling me he's not stronger 5 years later? So something mechanical has happened. It's purely mechanics. And he could do a couple of things that all the power comes back. He has a tool in the toolbox that he can always go to. So, you know, hopefully I know we got, hopefully Coach Eddie still on here. So when we, you know, kind of piggyback on this segment, I got a question for Coach Eddie. If he coaches boxing, that I think will kind of sum up what I'm talking about.
All right, so you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna bring in Edwin here with Round One Sports Talk. Let him tap in the conversation, and then we'll come right back to you too, Rich, and you can kind of ask Coach Eddie the question you had, and let's see if he has anything to contribute to the conversation. Edwin, salute to you, King.
What's up, brother? How you guys doing?
Working today.
What's up, Ray?
Good.
Man, I fixed it.
Hey, man, technicalities happen sometimes, brother. We're glad to hear you.
I got a computer update, and you say you accept it, and it resets all your things on your computer.
Okay.
So I didn't know where it was coming from, but I got it together. My man too, Rich, right there. He really touched on the points that I wanted to make, but I'm gonna say it in my version.
Sure.
What I think we're seeing about from Devin Haney is that in actuality, he was too small from the beginning. He was a big 135 pounder, but when he went up to 140 on that night with Ryan Garcia, when I saw him in that ring, all of a sudden Devin Haney got small to me. He didn't look as big as all the other 140 pounders. He didn't look as big. He was a weight bully there because he was there with bigger guys at 130 and he was packing on the weight, but it really didn't seem, seemed like Ryan was almost 2 divisions bigger than him in that ring. It just looked like he was so much bigger. And for the first time out of every one of Devin Haney's fights, I was like, weight bully? I was like, my man looked like he in 2 divisions smaller. Then a lot of people made criticism about the fight itself. And a lot of people said, oh, he knew it was Ryan Garcia had a left check hook. He couldn't block it. It was his defense. And what Too Rich was saying is what I was thinking the whole time. It wasn't his defense. It was his choice of weapon. He used the bow and arrow jab. The bow and arrow jab is a jab we throw like this, and we pull back like this. It looks like you're throwing a bow and arrow. When you throw that jab at the wrong distance and you don't use it in the right sequence, you can get caught with punches like that. I believe it was just his selection of punches. That was it. It wasn't his defense at all. And then when he got caught big. And as a young man coming up, you're fighting much more than just the punch. You're fighting the embarrassment, thinking of the crowd. You got to get out of your head. You got to get back in fight mode. You're somewhere in the fight you've never been. Devin Haney is a remarkable talent, and he has a lot, but I believe that his training was never complete. That's why I got a lot of criticism for not putting him on pound-for-pound list, because I said he wasn't a complete polished fighter. Because I know he has skills, but I was just like watching him as develop. Look, I also said this. We have to remember Devin Haney's remarkably young. He hasn't even come into his man strength. By the time he was 23 years old, he was already undisputed. I said we're going to watch 2 halves of Devin Haney's career like Kobe, number 8 and number 24. We got like 10 more years with Devin. And I think he's going to do okay. I just believe that, it's like Too Rich said, where is he at mentally? That's my biggest concern. I know the young man can fight. You could always get better training, but where are you at here? I know a lot of men that can't come back from beatings like that. I know men, and I know men that they got no sense. They have a short memory and they don't even think about a loss, but they weren't blessed with all the skills in the world. Like where does Devin go from here? Like Too Rich said, does he get is a cab driver gonna please the masses? No, he shouldn't fight no cab driver, no tune-up fight. He's a prime fighter. He's there. He needs to get in there and whoop a guy's ass, excuse my language, that will give him the confidence and the validation of the victory. And then the people, and you know what I love about boxing? boxing is a blood sport. You give them blood, they'll love you again.
Right.
They'll love you again. You give them a knockout, you give them excitement, they'll forget about all this.
Yep. So to Rich's point too, I was going to say with that 5-year situation that he did with the Antonio Moran fight and him moving forward, I think more the situation was when he got caught with Linares, that changed his approach, because if you look at the fights prior to that, the Jojo Diaz's and all those other fights, he stood in the pocket and he swung. He went toe to toe with these guys.
Yeah.
Once even Linares, that whole fight until he got clipped. Once he got clipped, it was an uncomfortable situation for him where he decided that he didn't want no part of that. He decided that he wanted to protect the O, I think, in my opinion, and that caused a lot of his downfalls to the point of him not being a fan favorite anymore. He wanted to be this stylistical fighter where he wanted to fight off the back foot. No, and listen, he's capable of doing that, as we all seen. I think he didn't grow into adjusting to that punch, which I think would have been a better move, to adjust instead of trying to change your style to avoid. That was the issue, and I think that's why he suffered so many of those same situations with Ryan Garcia, especially him taking that fight into the consideration of he didn't want to go in there thinking that overconfident. You know what I mean? He's going to outdo Tank. Like, that whole mindset wasn't based on Ryan Garcia, in my opinion. It was based on, I'm going to outdo Trevante Davis. Yes. I'm going to fight the guy at full power. I'm going to fight again. I think I just said this. He's going to fight the guy with no rehydration clause. He's going to fight him at well, you know what? You make 143. We're going to fight you anyway. All those things playing a part is Devin trying to outdo the guy that was last in the ring with Ryan, and I think that was the biggest mistake of Devin's choice of fighting Ryan. First of all, he should have took that fight. He just did his mandatory. We wouldn't be having this conversation at the moment. But that's another story and another day.
I know. I think that Devin Haney right now with Ryan, you brought another interesting point to me that I really never even looked at it like that. Actually, Ray, and that's a good point right there. But I think that Devin Haney, all he has to really do is get himself together at 140. All these rumors with Bill Haney talking about 147, I don't think that that's his division. I really think that you should just like settle down in this division, in one division, and start to try to repeat what you once did. As a former world champion, he's a champion in recess. Devin Haney is not gonna want to fight all these tune-up fights. He wants to fight championship fights. He wants a belt around his waist. This is who he is as a fighter. So I know that him and his father are trying to get him these fights, but what do you guys think? 147, really, guys? You think that that's the answer? You think that, rather than him staying disciplined, not blowing up in between fights, you know what I'm saying? Like, now I see the storm. I see what you guys might be seeing. Everybody starting to venture. Everybody starting to move. You got everybody moving to 154. Everybody moving to 147. And Teofimo Lopez, poking the bear, trying to say he wants to fight Jaron Boots Ennis. So I see that, but sometimes, like, look at Tank Davis stood at 135. He didn't move with the herd.
Right.
He needs to stay at 135 and become a king.
I agree. Let me go ahead and segue over to Too Rich, because I know he wanted to tap in with Coach Eddie on something like on some strength and conditioning stuff, and I'm actually interested in seeing where that conversation goes. Well, so Coach Eddie, you're there. Too Rich, yeah, go ahead, Bob. Go ahead and say what you were going to try to say to Coach Eddie.
All right. Oh, Coach, hey, what's going on, Coach Eddie? Now, I didn't want to make an assumption, but you coach boxing, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I know you train a guy to box. You train him all the fundamentals of boxing. And what we've seen that when guys come out to be good boxers, now the fans penalize. All he going to do is box. All he going to do is box. So my question would be, can you train a knockout?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can train a knockout. And I'm glad you asked that question, because I think boxers today, they're a product of what they grew up watching. I got in the ring. I'm 46 years old, but I got in the ring and I moved around with some of my guys yesterday. They said, you fight like an old fighter. which mean guys like because I'm up on my toes. I move around. I'm boxing. I'm in and out. I'm darting. I'm slipping and sliding. I'm throwing combinations. I fight. I patterned myself after a Ray Leonard or Ali. These guys today, they patterned themselves after Money Mayweather, was that guy that stood in front of you. They didn't utilize foot movement. Now Floyd could do it all. Don't get me wrong, Floyd could do it all. But then now these guys, they like to come in out in the middle of the ring, stand there with the shoulder roll, and they don't utilize foot movement, and they don't utilize their jab anymore. And the jabbing, that is so important in boxing. And I was able at 46 years old, I was able to neutralize 20-something year olds by simply using a Larry Holmes type of jab, peppering it, keeping it in your face, using the foot movement. That's what's missing in boxing. We got too many trainers and not enough teachers. And that's what the problem is. It's simple. Some things are always true, but move it. Devin Haney has no problem. In my opinion, Devin Haney would not have a problem moving up to 147 if he comes with the right mindset and the right type of game plan. Know who you are. Devin Haney is a mover. Devin Haney is best when he's up on his toes and when he's moving. You go back and watch Floyd Mayweather Sr. when he trained. He was a mover. He used his legs, he used his jab. That's when Devin Haney was at his best, when he was under the tutelage of Floyd Mayweather Sr. But Devin Haney, Big Haney, Bill Haney didn't like that. I ain't saying like that. Whatever reason, it dissolved. But can you train a knockout? Yes, you can train a knockout. But you also got to know, what your guy. If your guy doesn't have knockout power, then why are you going to try to train him to be a knockout puncher? You train him to be a boxer. But if you have a guy that can punch, then yeah, you want to make sure your guy's in good shape. You know what I'm saying? If he's a brawler, you want to cater his boxing style to his strengths. You don't want to try to change the guy too much, because you try to change a brawler into a boxer, you're gonna ruin the guy. You try to change the boxer into a brawler, you're gonna ruin the guy. So you let a guy, have his own flavor, put his own twist on it, and let it do what it do, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's really all you can do, because at the end of the day, the fighter's the one in the ring, man. He's got to also be smart enough to figure things out on his own. I think another thing is lacking. These guys got to be able to think on their own too. Back when I was fighting, they wouldn't let you coach from the corner. In the amateurs, you couldn't coach in the corner. Only time you got able to coach, you come back to the ring. But these fighters, when I let my guys spar, I give them instruction when they come back. You know what I'm saying? Let them guys figure it out on their own. I'm gonna give them a game plan. See if you can follow the game plan that I gave you, and see if you can go out there and execute it. Because a lot of times you're not gonna be able to hear my voice when everybody's yelling. So you got to figure this stuff out on your own. There's a lot of things that can be done to help these fighters. But yeah, absolutely you can train a knockout. Now people like to lift weights and all that stuff. Lifting weights, that's not gonna get the knockout. Punchers. I mean, sometimes punchers are born, like Tim Bradley, for instance. Tim Bradley look like he can knock down a building, but he can't punch. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these guys that got these big physiques, you know what I'm saying, they're not carrying a lot of punching power. So it's like some guys, you just gotta know how to leverage the shots, know how to place the shot, and try to hit a guy when he ain't looking. Try to catch a guy when he's not expecting it. That's when the knockouts come.
Well, what about increasing power? What do you do to increase a boxer's power?
Well, you can break the guy down. You don't have to knock a guy out with one punch. You can soften him up. I mean, a lot of people they want to turn to the weights. Thing that's going to increase the power, and really just speed generates power. So if you can increase that speed and move your weight mass at a higher speed, it's going to create power. But also just knowing where to place the shot, knowing where to hit the guy at, to get him drunk, knowing how to catch a guy when he's not expecting it, knowing how to blind a guy and catch him on the chin. You got to hit the guy on the button. That's how you get the knockouts. Hit the guy on the button, man. You could punch very, very hard, but if I can brace for the punch, if I can see it coming, I can take it, no matter how hard it is. But if I don't see the punch coming, now that's a different story. Now the smallest punch may knock me out, like Jaime Munguia. Not that the guy was such a big puncher, is Jaime didn't see the punch coming, and that's what got him out of there. So it's the punches that you don't see that hurt you. And that's you got to train the guy to hit the man with punches that he don't see, and that's how you get those knockouts.
Yo, too rich.
Uh-huh.
If you're talking about wanting to increase your punch, right? Like in the gym, When my coach and my trainers taught me how to increase my punch, it's the same thing with lifting weights. If you put 225 pounds on you and you can't lift it, every week, if you keep putting it on your body's going to eventually push back. You're going to get stronger. Eventually, you're going to lift it. If you want to believe in your punch, the secret to a big punch is believing in throwing the punch, because what happens is somewhere inside of your mind, you're slowing up and you don't notice it. You're not throwing the punch as hard as you actually could.
Or
You
confidently,
have to convince
right?
the body to snap it. Now, some people want to throw punches. You see them from their waist. They got good form. They snap it with their wrist. You got fighters like Navarrete that throws it from his shoulders. He's all shoulders, right? But if you want to snap the punch, it's upon hours of believing and snapping it. You have to have confidence. Then I believe measurement is good. What happened with Jaime Munguia was, right, he was actually winning in the fight. He could have won the rest of that fight with a jab. Going out there looking for a knockout, he got knocked out. And we criticized Devin Haney for when he was standing in front of Regis Progress for not going in, but he didn't go in for the knockout, played it safe, and won the fight. You see, so you're damn when you do, you're damn when you don't. But as type as getting your power as a power puncher, there's funny angles. You have to learn how to sit down on your punch like Saul. You sit down on your punch and you angle it like this. Yo, that punch, I was studying it for a while. I've never really mastered it, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it changes the game. If you can go like this and brace, sit down like this and cuff it, not so much of a hook, but it has to come like this, where that you're snapping your weight down. I've seen guys get a better form on throwing their punch. And that's about it. But if you were born to punch, you got to be born to punch like that Japanese dude, Naoya Inoue. If you're not born with it, you can only increase it by so much, because you can. But I've seen natural knockout artists. You got to be born with that shit. And the best punch in boxing is your jab. It starts with your jab. And if you have a smart utility jab, you know.
I actually want to show this video right here and see what you guys think about this, and see if you see some adjustments being made, and are you liking what you're seeing, or does it not really mean anything? Because the reason I'm pulling it up here is because of what you just said, Edwin, about this the punch that he's doing. And I think we're supposed to be potentially speaking to this guy today on Blue Blood, Nate Jones, a guy who's actually working with Devin Haney in this video here. But check this out here and tell me what you guys think about what you're looking at here.
I've never seen this video. Play it.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Good. Good.
See?
That's beautiful.
Cuff it down. Cuff it down, son. 1, 2, 1, 2. Cuff, put the weight. 1, 2. Throw it again. Good angle. Keep those heavy gloves up. Again. Come on. Good.
What do you guys think about what you're seeing right there? Do you think there's some adjustments being made there? Do you think it looks like they're kind of getting back to some sort of fundamentals a little bit, right? It looks like they're keeping it very basic and slow, not so fast, but definitely working on that snap. And like you were saying, Edwin, turning that punch over when he sits down on those punches. Did you see that in that video? What do you think about it?
Hey, well, look, check this out. To me, that did this from my point of view. I see some. I'm not gonna say I see some things wrong. I think Devin can really just outbox many fighters and win a fight. But if you're saying power, I still see some things mechanically wrong with delivering power. Now, let me give it to you like this. You know, I told you I played baseball all my life. Now, when you see pitchers, most of the time pitchers are frail looking people. Yet from their right hand, they can generate 100 miles an hour fastball. You see what I mean? It's because
Speed.
the mechanics are different and they're not driven by the arm. Whereas we looking at, you know, you need to turn the punch over. I don't think you need to do any of that. You need to throw the punch correctly if you want to generate power. Now, that's not all of boxing. You can't just go in there and just, you know, go balls in the wall. But if Devin has a great jab, if that's your best punch, how are you going to be a knockout artist? How are you going to knock somebody out if your jab is your best punch? What is your cleanup punch? What are you gonna take the guy out with? We know Tank gonna catch you with an uppercut. We know how he coming. I think Keisha will rely on his right hand, maybe staying with an uppercut in the right hand. We know how he coming. How is Devin coming? And so what happens is he's throwing the punches and he has good pop, but he's taking something off mechanically. He's taking something off the punch when he delivered. Now I don't want to give away all my, you know, sauce or whatever the case may be, but it's the same thing with Benavidez. As he moved up in weight, because of the trajectory change, when he throws his punch, something's coming out. Not that he's trying to take something off, but it's one mechanical step that's taking something off a punch. Now to give you as a picture, we swing our arm exactly the same. No matter what pitch is being thrown, you throw your arm the same because that's the deception. But we can throw fastballs and we can throw off-speed pitches. So what slows the ball down and what speeds the ball up? It's something very fundamental that I think is missing in boxing. And I think if you know, now you have to have somebody else give them all the jabs, the footwork. All I'm saying, throwing the right hand with power and increasing the power is mechanical. Now, like I said, you're not gonna throw 10,000 right hands around, but when you got that to go-to punch, when you know where your power resides, that's the tool that Devin needs. Even when I look at that footage, okay, so what's his kill punch? What's the kill? What's that right hand to kill? That's not a kill punch. That's not a kill punch. The jab is very good. The right hand is not a kill punch. And you sending him back into the, you know, into the war, into the fire, and he don't have the tool. He don't have the tool that he's confident in that's gonna give him maximum defense while delivering maximum offense. And it's something very subtle that he could do to increase his power by 4 times. I don't know if you can show that. Go back and look at the Morell knockout, and look at Devin throwing punches now. And look at the Morell knockout. He was younger. He had that that go getter. And round one, you hit it, the nail on the head when you said the Linares fight. That was it. He got rocked, and he was never quite that attacker again after that. So he has become very defensive, maybe because he's fighting for championship. Don't want to make a mistake. Don't want to overcommit or whatever the case may be. But as you move up in weight, you got to bring a kill shot with you. You got to bring the right tools for the job that you're doing. And I say the same thing about Shakur. They said, why Shakur ain't knocking him out? He don't have the tool. How you gonna tell him knock a guy out and he doesn't have the tool to go to that he's confident in to say, this is my kill punch. So I just think we can train the knockouts. We can train. If that's what the people want to see, let's train it. That's not depend on the fighter to be natural. Yes, some people are going to have it natural, but to me, they don't have it natural. They do some things mechanically right naturally. But we, as human beings, we create power every day. We can harness it and we can recreate it at will. And I really want to bring that to Devin Haney.
Yes, and I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said you play baseball because I'm gonna bring something to a similarity which I talked about before with Clay probably about a year ago. Because I also play baseball.
I don't even know if I'm allowed to play these videos for education purposes, but I just want to.
This is a murder. What are you doing? You can't play this. This
you can't,
is a
right?
crime scene.
I thought you were trying to say something. I'm sitting here like, word, I gotta stop. I don't want them coming to my door. You know what I'm saying? But
he rips his head off here.
But here's a quick little setup of what he does, right? Like,
but look how far he brings the punch back from.
Here it comes.
Way back there.
But he timed it. He pushed him. You know what I mean? He was able to do something different there, right? And I get what he's saying. Also, if you look at the key factor, it's just like hitting home runs or hitting a solid ball. When you're playing baseball, it starts with the drive of the hips. It starts with how you land the bottom half of your body and torque your hands coming forward when you're swinging.
Exactly.
I totally get where you were coming from, too, Rich, because I play baseball and I deal with this and I coach baseball, so I work with the youth with this too, as training as a batting coach. I see the same things and same similarities. What I noticed with Devin is, though he sat down and he had a nice little reaction with his punch, I don't also see his footwork. Obviously, we don't see him in a back and forth motion. We just see him coming forward, hitting the mitts, right? But when he was hitting those mitts and he did snap, his hips followed his hands. If you look in that shot again, his hips follows his hands. His hands don't follow his hips. So that's where I think Too Rich seen in that shot, and I think that's where he was coming from, where he said there's still something missing. And Clay, I don't know if you want to play that again with the mitts, but watch how the power shots are. Watch how his hips follow. Like, he throws, and you see his leg torque out after, like, while he's throwing. You don't see the shoulder movement first, right? They say if you're going to deceive somebody, don't show them what you're doing. Don't telegraph your shots, right? Don't move your upper body. Let it come from here and then come with it. And you can see that in this sparring session. And I've seen it in a lot of fights, even when he fought Kambosos, Lomachenko, and when he fought Regis. You've seen these telltale signs.
I wanna say something right now. This is how boxing evolving. This is a real interesting conversation. To Too Rich and to Ray, right? Both of you guys, what you guys are describing is exactly what I was taught all my life. But I want to tell you something right now, right? That Japanese dude, Naoya Inoue, is changing the game. I would love if Claymore, after this right here, you could put up the knockout from Naoya Inoue against Luis Pantera Nari. Yo, check this out. He is truly defining the way you throw your punch. What you guys are talking about is technique and timing. Is what you're talking about. With technique and timing, you don't need a lot of power. You don't need a lot of torque. His momentum, right timing, you'll knock anybody out, right? But this Japanese dude, when you watch, right? That's why I'm saying boxing's evolving. There's different ways that I'm learning every day, right? Look, no torque, no hips, nothing. He
counter ability, though. That was counter.
Yeah,
you hit him with a counter, you're basically using their momentum against him. It's almost like judo.
No. I'm talking about the one against Luis Pantera Nari. There was no counter. He was on the rope. He hit him with the uppercut, and he hit him with the same hand. He didn't budge. It's freaky to watch, because when you notice, you realize what you're looking at, the punch doesn't make sense. It's not supposed to. And the violent nature that his neck snaps off the rope, when he goes like this, he hit the ground. He was so done. His mouthpiece in his hand. He didn't know where he was. It was so violent. And it was like a 6.5-inch punch. It was like this far away. He didn't cock his arm back, nothing. So I'm seeing that, there's different techniques. And so all people don't process the same style. Like for instance, my idol, Mayweather. I would never teach any of my kids Mayweather's style. And I tell them that when they come into the gym. Why? Because unless you have all his attributes, God-given talents, you're not going to pull off what he pulled off. You got to understand that this man was truly gifted. He had a great gas tank, good ability, cat-like reflexes, a chin, an iron chin. He had everything. So sometimes guys can pull these stuff off, but look, let's be honest with Devin Haney's situation. Back to that real quick. Let's be honest, guys. One training camp is not going to change him. The maximum he can learn is up to 1 or 2 punches in a year. If he gets hit hard, he's going to divert right back to the old fighter he once was. Let's just keep it honest. One training camp, he would have to be with those guys and working that process for a repeated extensive amount of time for them to change him as a fighter. So this notion that if we're really thinking about it, how much different we're going to see Devin Haney, unfortunately, the human body will tell you that you can't record all of that and keep it together. It's not going to happen. Not in one training camp. So
for boxing. Hold on a second. Salute to here for boxing in the building. Just to kind of tap in, because honestly, I'm honestly sitting here as a student. I'm loving the conversation. I'm loving the way the narrative is going. I got no problem sitting back silently enjoying the content that's happening on my channel for free by you guys. It's you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I'm winning. I'm winning all the way right now. I'm completely all into this conversation, right? It's interesting though what you say about You know, it takes time. No matter how hard it's like drinking water, right? No matter how many gallons you take in, it's only going to absorb but so much, and you're going to piss out the rest. It's just the mechanics and the human anatomy of how we work. So the work is great to see it happening in the gym. I think that's what it looks like, the direction you're going in, that the work in the gym, it looks great. It's awesome that you're acknowledging that you need to work on these things. We love to see that you're doing it, but ultimately the actual manifestation of the ring is actually going to be more intertwined with your activity and you using it in actual fights over and over again. And this is where this will become more of part of what you do regularly, but we need to focus on making sure what you do most of the time being as effective and as sound and as clean as it's supposed to be, so that you're able to manifest victories and get championships and win these fights that are in front of you. I'm definitely on board with you.
Just remember, let's not be so harsh on David Haney while we're watching him hit the pads. We got to understand those are walkthroughs.
That's training, right?
Right, no, I'm not being harsh.
Yeah. No, I'm telling the fans. I'm telling the fans.
Okay, word. Okay.
Not you, brother. Chill. I'm saying as the fans, like when we're watching that, those are walkthrough pad hit. You know, he's not all the way, but you want to, you know, whatever the coach is working on with him, I'm sure he's keeping an eye on exactly that. You know, maybe not his footwork or, you know, but it's good to see him back in there. It's good to see him back. You know, I want to see Devin Haney again, man.
Hey, well, look,
blood sport.
check this out. Yeah, let me pick it back on what Round One said about Anyway. I just want you to look at Anyway. He stands right there in front of the guy, almost to say, come on. You only do that when you know you have the weapon that you going to draw. You could dare him to come on. Anyway, throws a simple overhand right. It's not the right hand. It's how he's throwing it. That he's getting full drive behind the right hand. So he's able to produce enormous power. I'll give you another example. Nick Ball, he can fight like a firecracker because mechanically, he has the right mechanics to drive. So even if he hits the guy going to be driven back. He's going to create space, which is defensive. His head's going to be in the right position, which is the most defensive way possible. Like I said, if you go back and look at that knockout over Morell with Devin, Morell was throwing the right hand, and Devin's hand was nicely tucked right up under that right hand, because if you mechanically throw the right hand the right way, it will give you defense, maximum defense with maximum offense. And I just think if we want to make boxing exciting, if it is all about knockouts or what, okay, let's train them. Let's put them in the best position possible, rather than say, hey, I gave you some boxing skills, now go out there and become a knockout artist. I think so. Then you're gonna look at the guys who naturally have the talent but what people call natural, for me, being that I play sports all my life, is repetition. The athlete, you know, we look at Michael Jordan, you know, he's naturally gifted. Well, Michael Jordan shot 1,000 shots every morning. Is that natural? Or is he just repetition? So it's the same way. If I'm allowed to work with a guy, bro, I need 1,000. We gonna ingrain repetition into your mind, so you have to go to. This your weapon now. It's not just a punch; it's a weapon, and now we can draw the opponent in to our weapon. And I'm looking at the train, and I look at a lot of footage. So this not I haven't actually looked at this footage my first time, but all the other clips I got. And you know, maybe if it don't go right with Bill, you know, maybe I could share it, you know, on this what I did and all the clips. And I even went and hit the bag myself to demonstrate it, to give a really good detailed understanding of what I'm trying to say. Like I said, I'm not saying everything right here, but you know, you get the idea. But the most important part is driving through. Devin Haney is hitting and he's stopping. He's effectively taking power off his own punch, just because of the mechanics.
All right, I'm gonna let Coach Eddie tap in. Then I definitely want to bring Blaze in, and he's been sitting here patiently. But go ahead, Coach Eddie.
Not too rich. Everything you guys have said is exactly right. Even Edwin, what it is the mitts. They're meeting these guys instead of letting them punch through the target. And I tell my guys a lot of time, I tell them, you punching with your fingers, you're not punching with your knuckles. I mean, a lot of guys, when they land that punch, their knuckles are up like this. You have to take those knuckles, you have to twist them down, so that way you penetrate that glove. I say, when you hit a man, you want to feel his skull on your knuckles. That's when you know you're hitting hard. And you don't necessarily have to throw the hardest punch to do that. You just got to know how to penetrate. You gotta know how to drop the shoulder in. Like George Foreman used to hit people on the end of the punches. That's why they were like, boom, hit you on the end of the shot. And you see how that shoulder drop right there. That's when that dropping that shoulder on the guy. And then raising that elbow up. Triple G was the guy who would raise that elbow up so that he would hit you with the knuckles right there.
With the 2 knuckles, 100% right there on the top.
You gotta drop those knuckles on that guy, man. Yes, sir.
100%. Let me go ahead and bring in Blaze pound for pound. I know after him saying something like that, everybody want to contribute to this part of it, but I know Blaze has something on his mind when he hit that link. How you doing, Blaze? By the way, salute, King.
Blaze.
I'm doing great. Peace, long time no see. I've been watching y'all though, man. I appreciate it. I just jumped in saying y'all, doing master class and just tutorials, man, really educating us as fans and avid boxing enthusiasts. So I just wanted to jump in and give my feedback. But then what I do want to say real quick, briefly though, is that boxing is really ultimately about strategy, right? Strategy and tactics, right? Tactics is what you train for, right? In the boxing match, and you got to be, trained up and have the right habits to execute your tactics. But you ultimately come in with a strategy, and they can make a documentary about the poor strategy that Haney and his dad went into that fight with Ryan Garcia, because it's obviously he didn't fight his fight. If he would have fought his fight, he could have very well won that fight. And unfortunately, with all the antics, because I went for it. I thought Brian was unhinged. And it obviously was a strategy to get Devin to, stand still so we can hit him. And I'll always bring back Tank just because they was, they got the same opponent, is that Tank always fought his fight against Ryan. And so he dodged those punches and countered them and executed his strategy. So that's just basically, my point. And I'm looking forward to Haney getting back in the ring. He's young. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's training. But what I'm ultimately looking forward to is him getting back to his strategy, using his reach, using his boxing, using his jab, and using his footwork. And with that said, I'm complete.
Man, salute, Blaze. And I want to add to that and be like, man, I think there's multiple things that's so true when it comes to this Devin Haney fan. And I think you highlighted Devin Haney fight, excuse me. And I think you highlighted something very important here, that there definitely could be classes in breakdowns that go deep into that fight in multiple ways, right? In the antics as well as strategy, the effectiveness of the strategy. The whole fight within itself is art in itself, like in the mind, the art of war, when it comes to the mind, physically tricking somebody outside of their best weapons and making them trying their ego, trying their pride,
yes,
and making
sir.
them jump out of their comfort zone and do things that they normally wouldn't do, knowing that that's your best opportunity to actually apply what you bring best off to the conversation. I think that's very interesting within itself. And without a doubt, I've always said, and outside of the Osterine and obviously all the things that I stand on to say, that I thought Ryan brought a lot of dishonorable things to the ring, the not being on weight, I'm saying that's the professionalism, and of course having something that was in his system that's not allowed to be in his system. But outside of that, there's a lot of this that falls on Devin Haney and his father and that camp's shoulders as well, as far as strategy and approach to the fight, and not doing what they were supposed to do, put them in a position where they were available to take these shots. And that always has to be acknowledged. And if Devin Haney is actually going to come back a better fighter and come back, his best bet is to acknowledge his role in it and allow the law, whatever have you, to go ahead and push back at Ryan Garcia's non-professional approach and the things that he may have done illegal or whatever, how you want to look at outside the ring. But your concern needs to be what you can control, and what you can control is that right hand staying up. What you can control is keep staying on your feet, moving around, staying on your jab, being a boxer that was always chasing legacy. You can control these things, and if you did stay true to those things, then more than likely you wouldn't have had the result that you had that night with Ryan Garcia. That holds weight within itself, and always is got to be highlighted, in my opinion. I'm gonna pass it around.
Yeah,
I heard that
say one more
somebody
thing.
in here.
Can I say one more? Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, let me just say one thing to somebody in the chat.
Yep.
I heard somebody say something about Better BF potentially pulling out of that fight with Dimitri Bivol for whatever reason. I don't know that to be true, man. I'm looking into it. I hope you just trolling. I would really break my heart to know that happened. But yeah, I have no idea about that. But
Yo,
Go ahead.
Claymore Ray, I gotta go. My daughter's here real quick, but what I just wanted to say real quick, right? As a coach, we hope that when we train these kids, when we teach them all these punches, we teach them all these punches, but we hoping that night they go out in the ring and they make the right choices with the punches. You could teach your kid all the punches in the world, but it's up to them to put it together as fighters. So, guys, listen, I love having a conversation with you, but I gotta go get my daughter, Ray, Claymore, everybody in the panel, 2 cents, Blaze, Coach Eddie, it's been amazing. Peace, guys.
Peace. Right. Salute.
Yeah, I wanted to tap in. Go ahead, Blaze. I know you had something to say because I wanted to say something that I've been waiting to say for a minute. Oh, where'd Blaze go? He got off.
He probably got disconnected. He'll be back. He always comes
what
back.
I was going to say is,
we're about to wrap it up soon, too. By the way, guys.
Real quick. To everybody's point on what Devin's mistakes are, I don't think it's so much of his power or how he delivers his shots. I think it's his follow-up to when he sees or recognizes his opponent being wounded. I think he's afraid of entering that zone and getting touched because he sees a wound. I've seen it with the fight with Regis, and I've seen it with Ryan. He actually could have knocked Ryan down, I think, in that second or third round, was it? When he hit him, he popped him back, and Ryan looked like he was lost. He looked like he was about to go down. Instead of Devin closing in and taking advantage of that moment, he did not. Same thing happened with Regis. He hit Regis, he knocked him back, and not only once but twice where he knocked him off his guard, and he could have went in there and closed the show, but he didn't. I think he's afraid of getting countered, and I think that's where we need to see these issues come and be fixed. I don't think it's so much of what he has in power. I think he knows his jab enough is strong enough to really stun and weather the storm for himself, because he's an excellent fighter defensively, off the back foot, and with the jab. So I don't think it's so much he needs to really fix to work on his power hand. I think it's there. You know what I mean? He has great timing. He's a great athlete. I think it's more of him just having the confidence to finish the opponent off.
Well, look, check this out, Ray. This is my point, though. When I look at fighters like Terrence Crawford is a great boxer, but at some point in the fight, he knows it's time to sell out. It's time to go for it, and you have to have the proper weapon that you're confident in to go for it. You see what I mean? So, like you say, Ryan Garcia admitted that Devin Haney had him hurt. Devin Haney didn't go for it. Why didn't he go for it? What was he gonna go for it with? Is he sure what he was gonna go for it with? What was his go for it punch? What was his go for it move? And so I see the same thing with Shakur. I see Shakur is a converted southpaw. He's not natural. He's a converted southpaw. What has happened, he done fought like that so long that now the power is evenly distributed in both hands. So he essentially got 2 power jabs. So you want him to knock a guy out, what are you going to knock him out with? He doesn't have the tool to knock him out, or at least he doesn't trust his own tool because he doesn't have the tool to knock a guy out with. He's just going to have to overcome him by maybe a bunch of shots. So I think the special fighters or the knockout fighters, they know how they coming. They know how, anyway, know how he coming. Crawford know how he, Tank know how he coming. And when we look at Devin, we see a good boxer, but how is he coming? We have to give him the tools. We can't send him out there and let him figure it out on his own. It's a tool. I want you to think about it like this. Does the barrel of a gun have any power? The barrel has no power. The power, it was within the gun. It's a switch that's triggered within the gun that shoots energy through the barrel. And as a pitcher, that's what we're taught to do, to keep our arms always relaxed. So where is the power coming from? The power is that it's a trigger in the human body that we can shoot power through our arm and release the ball straight. So all I'm saying, I'm talking about, it's so simple. And once he could incorporate it into his arsenal of just, like I say, I'm watching him hit the mitts. That's cool. I get it. You hitting the mitts, but you're also creating muscle memory. So exactly how he's hitting those mitts, that's what he did with Regis. He hit and he held up. He hit Ryan Garcia and he held up. That's what he's doing with the mitts. He's hitting and stopping. He's stopping his own power. Right. You see what I mean? So he going, and that is how confident is that for him to finish a guy.
That's what I think we're saying the same thing, right?
Wait, hold on, because we really only got like 10 minutes. I know Blaze was going to say something. I just want him to get to it before he forgets it. Then we can come back to Ray Davis, and then ultimately, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to jump into wrapping this up. It's later. I know I started the show late today because I had some things I was dealing personally, but it's almost 3 o'clock, and I got, you know what I'm saying, I literally got to get ready to go on another live, and probably in like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I got my own personal stuff to do in between. So let me allow Blaze to get that over his chest. Ray, come right back to you. Say whatever you was trying to say. Let that close it out, and then we can go ahead and have closing statements. And then, you know, salute to everybody. I'll take the time right now early to say that this was one of the best panels I've had in a long time. I love these kind of panels where I'm like literally silent because I'm just hearing so much knowledge and so much science being dropped. This is what I want this channel to represent in the boxing space. I want to tap into boxing conversations. These conversations don't need to have debate in them, even though from time to time we do debate ideas, but we are definitely building in these conversations. And anybody watching the show, casuals all the way to hardcore boxing fans, ouch. It looks like Blaze will be back though, probably. Boxing fans and casual, hardcore boxing fans and casuals alike, getting education, getting perspective, and also getting the opportunity to tap in and fall in love with the science of boxing, man, and what it's all about, and as well as being fans of your favorite fighters. But these conversations are awesome. It looks like Blaze is out the way for a minute. Maybe he's trying to get back in. I'm just going to send it over to Ray and let Ray kind of go where he's going to.
Mine was just coming at Too Rich saying if he threw a slider, he got me. But anything else, man, it's out of there, brother.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I hear you. I hear you.
Yo, Too Rich, yo, you are you impress me on multiple levels, bro. I don't know, you know, there's underrated and there's unfinished like diamonds in the rough in the game. I like to tap in. I saw it in Greg Hackett. There's another guy too, but I don't know if it's a personality thing that doesn't get him over the top. But Low Nose is somebody who's super knowledgeable in boxing historically and in what happens in the ring. He doesn't get the accolades, but those are the type of, I'm not into the mainstream guys so much. I give them their respect for getting as big as they did, but you, Too Rich, you're definitely one of those guys. You articulate it well, you speak from a good place, everything makes sense, take your time, you're respectful, bro. My eyes always kind of glitter when I see you get ready to get on the panel. I know we're about to get into some real good energy. Your perspective is always welcome here. Coach Eddie, same thing with you guys. I'm just getting my accolades out the way, because I'm going to close this up after you guys finish doing your closing statements. So I appreciate all you guys. I'm going to throw it back to Ray. Well, Ray said already what he had to say. So Too Rich, if you want to kind of like begin and start off with your little closeout, whatever have you.
All right. I appreciate those words, man. Like I say, man, I like this panel, man, because we could be intelligent. I don't like to be ignorant all the time on those channels where it's politics and, all that. But hey, I can hold my own. Don't get me wrong. Right. But, I would just say I want to see Devin back, man. I want to protect the boxers. That's the sport. So, if I can help out, create a boxing 3.0 or whatever the case may be. And I just remind people as a pitcher, we can speed the ball up or we can slow it down without ever using our arms. We don't even have to use it. We throw the same motion. It's another trigger. I call it the trigger of the gun. Once we pull that trigger, we could create power instantly. You see what I mean? So I know Coach Eddie, hopefully Coach Eddie's still here. Hey, man, I'm in Atlanta. I think you in Atlanta. Give me 7 days. If I can't get the bill in 7 days, bro, I would like to come down and just work with you on some concepts, and we can go from there.
Yeah, for sure. I got my own gym, man. You can Google me, man. You come through my gym anytime, man.
Okay.
Yes, Douglasville. I ain't trying to plug it or anything. I'm just saying, but it's Douglasville
plug it,
Boxing
bro.
Club.
Plug it. Plug it.
Yeah. It's Douglasville Boxing Club. You can come through anytime. Been in operation for 15 years. Like I say, for Bruce, I'm gonna make a quick point, and I'm gonna land my plane. Bruce Lee used to say, when you throw a punch, you want to make your arm basically like a rope with a weight on the end of it, so that it flies through weightlessly and it doesn't require so much energy. So you can throw that punch all night long and still have that delivery mechanism at the end. I think a lot of guys right now, they're missing the concept of not just knocking the guy out, but also cutting the guy, knowing how to bust a guy up, knowing where you can hit him up and swell him up. Like Ali know where to hit you, to cut you. He know how to swell you up. So if you can swell him up, you can get him out of there. You can swell him up and you can beat him up because he can't see the punches coming. Or you can cut him up, make him stop it off cuts. That's another old school stuff that these fighters aren't really. The mitts are something that are so heavily used, they're overused in the boxing gym, and that's the reason why Emmanuel Stewart does mitts the best way. You don't meet the fighter, you let the fighter punch through the target. When a person throws a proper punch, you should feel their freaking knuckle bone through that mitt on the palm of your hand. And it should jar your elbow and your shoulder. That's when you know you got a solid punch right there. Anything else, it may sound loud, but hard punches are really silent. They don't really sound awful loud. They're really quiet, and they're penetrating. They're to the bone. Those punches need to be to the bone. And man, I love coming up on this panel, man. Thanks for having me up, Claymore. You're doing a great job, man. I hope your show grows exponentially, man. Because like I said, you one of the best out there, brother. And we just got to get the word out, man.
No doubt.
Same to you, Ray Davis. Y'all got a good show going, man.
Thank you. I hold all the credit, man, for bringing me in.
Nah, man. Look, man. He's part. Ray's part of it. You know what I mean? I'm happy that you guys are participating because you bring legitimacy. You validate a lot of things. And I'm glad if you can be comfortable on a platform like this, then we're doing the right thing because you guys happen to be in the space. You have your own gym. Too Rich, you know what I'm saying, spends a lot of time training and going over the science of it and translating that into to training other boxers. And if you guys find some comfort in this space where you feel like what you're saying is not falling on deaf ears and you're saying that what we're doing is good, that brings a lot of validation here. Same thing with the echoes of the space and even Blaze, people that even get into heavy debates on other channels come here and they don't feel like debating. They feel like building. They feel like it's a comfortable space to build on some boxing. So, man, look, it's always welcome, man. I appreciate both you guys for being up here. Go ahead, Ray, if you want to close it out, say anything.
I just want to thank everybody for showing up and bringing this conversation to fruition. It was a great conversation for all the topics today. With that being said, I just want to say we out, Clay. I think it was great. Enough said. You know what I mean? Good talks.
No doubt, man. Listen, man, salute to everybody who's in here. Salute to all the people who put color in the chat today. Mr. Big Play, Bray, Now Fingers, Joaquin Arizona, Sean Phil, showing some love to the channel today. The color is always welcome. Remember to hit your like buttons if you haven't done it yet. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, take the time to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You guys know how we carried. It's your boy Rain. It's your boy Davis. It's the ATP Combat Media Show. And at this point,
we out. And become a member, man. It's right there.
Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
Chance I'm coming down, no. Got a soul view to myself, yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they want to come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. This my vocation, now I got rollies all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Swatting all black like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see the grind that I know that it came with.